What's up, hotheads and political junkies? You're watching Cannabis Culture News Live. I'm Jeremiah, here with Johnny Boy.
What's up, Pod TV?
What a guy, he made it in today. We missed you last week, Johnny.
I know I missed you last week, and then we missed each other the week before. And
I know.
I miss you guys most of all. That's
do
what
that
I
sometimes.
miss. And wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Canada has legalized or will be legalizing marijuana.
It's a done deal.
On October 17th. But what does that word legalize actually mean?
We should start.
It means you can smoke weed.
Semi-legalized, because
Semi-legalized.
I'm only half-hard about it.
That's David Malmo-Levine from off camera here.
He's over there.
In the hot seat, there he is.
Semi-legal.
And
sort of legal for the rich and the old, but they weren't getting busted anyway. We need the poor and the young and the non-white people included in legalization. Otherwise, it's not legalization.
But so whatever do you mean by that, David?
Because
I mean, for all races,
everybody can grow.
Oh
legalize
yeah,
it?
well,
everybody can possess.
It's an interesting statistic. It's near the top of the page at potfacts.ca, but you can look it up yourself. It is that in Colorado, arrests for young people under the age of majority, under the age of legal smoking, arrests for dark-skinned young people shot up 50% after legalization, and it went down 10% for white youth. Does this make everyone feel proud that they found a kind of slick version of legalization that goes after the most vulnerable people, the people who were getting busted before, but now more so? It's like we've streamlined it, like we've perfected racism. No, I don't want that kind of legalization. Or take, for example, the LP groups that have lobbied the Liberal government for a captive market. They said so in court in Allard. They wanted a captive market. Well, they sold it to the press as a free market, but they told the lawyers that they wanted a captive market.
It was a stock market.
Well, they see the pot market as every other market. Some way you can get a state monopoly or some kind of edge over other people, proprietary this, intellectual property rights that, and they just want to see the whole world resemble the pyramid of power, the hierarchy, the 1% in control of 99% everything. They want to see that with the pot market too. And what we want is everybody to be protected by legalization. The young, the poor, the non-white, just inclusive. Find a way to legalize everyone. Get everyone off the drug war battlefield. Have no more flower crimes. Protect the harmless from harm. That's our vision. Call me crazy, but I haven't given up on that vision just because the first offer from my government is this cheesy semi-legalization. And we won't stop, I believe, until everyone is legal. All growers, all dealers, all users, and all the smugglers too. Why not include them? They're also harmless people.
Dealer dignity.
Exactly.
Dealer dignity.
A dealer is a person in your neighborhood. In your neighborhood. In your neighborhood. A dealer is a person in your neighborhood.
Well, here's the whole thing. So as legalization moves forward, and I smoke some of these concentrates that we get from all around the place and stuff like that, these things are not going to be legal. These will not be produced by licensed producers or anything in the legal market. So, I mean, what we're looking at now is, hey, you know what? This market that they're calling legalized, when it comes to people who are suffering like severe chronic pain and stuff, we know how these extracts work so well, so they've made it even more illegal for people like myself to obtain anything that might help them. So I think education with what is happening with legalization and the next steps is really lies in the hands of people like ourselves, David, the activists, to get out there and educate more and more on how cannabis is going to help people and stuff like that.
It's like they're legalizing the government pot shops and government-approved cannabis, and they're legalizing the creation of a new industry, but they're not legalizing what already exists. They're not legalizing what we were supposed to legalize.
Right.
That's an issue. It's a major issue. I've been ranting a lot about it. I'm kind of ranted out. I've done
Jodie's been doing a lot of media.
It's on par. I didn't realize it would be such a big day. I actually took a day off on Tuesday, and I started getting phone calls like, "Don't you know the Senate vote?" It's like, "Oh man, another pot government news story. How long has this been going on?" But it turned out to be a big one, and it's been a lot of messaging. And I'm not the Debbie Downer. I'm the realistic Rachel. I don't know.
Yeah, there's more
like
work
that.
to be done, Jodie.
Yeah.
Let's still fight.
I'm the dreamer, Debbie.
There
You
you
know,
go.
it's like I still believe, like Malmo said so perfectly, you know, this hyphenated fella here, and I'm a hyphenated fella. We're both pretty
Hybrid vigor.
We both agree. Like, yeah, this is about a war of harm against harmless people.
Yeah.
And I didn't get a notice in the mail letting me know I'm not a criminal anymore. I didn't get a notice saying that vapor lounge.
Hey, I never got a notice
legal.
from Health Canada stating that I had lost my license through the injunction, or the injunction even then happened.
government doesn't even
I'm still,
communicate.
if I would not be involved with the injunction, what's going on, because a lot of people still don't even consider the injunction and the medical of what's happened. No one would even know. Like, Health Canada never sent me a letter stating that they had taken my license away, or that my license had been more or less protected
It's
or
all about
grandfathered.
miscommunication. And in fact, one of the
everything.
most offensive things right now for me is seeing the government's new ad campaigns. Have you seen this with the videos? And it says, Canadians are curious about cannabis. Get the honest facts. And H and F are capitalized as if that makes it even more true. Because, like, you know, the big
It's the
lie.
title of Honest Facts.
Yes.
Yeah.
The honest facts registered, meaning government bullshit. Because you turn the video, it's just this little clip, and it was like, cannabis is a natural plant. How can that be bad for you? And then it has Dr. Mark Ware, who, he was on the task force, and now he works
Yes.
for Canopy, and he was in the video going, well, you know, some plants are dangerous for people, and cannabis is no different. And then it goes to a doctor lady, and she's like, and we know that cannabis smoke is just like tobacco smoke and harmful. And it's like, that is an absolutely scientifically completely no.
Yeah.
Not an honest fact.
Not an honest fact.
Not an honest fact.
You're 0 for 1.
Bad.
So, once again,
and this is like just that's the whole video, and all of the questions. You go to Canada.ca because it's official government /cannabis. Reefer madness. It's about 1 out of 2 regular users become addicted. Mental, all sorts of I know it's your blood pressure. You will go insane reading this. Going to their website will be worse for your health. Because I've nearly had a heart attack a couple times. Like, it fills me with rage. It literally fills me with rage because those lies are being used to justify criminalization.
And
There's got to be a
persecution.
rhyme in there. And yeah,
Yeah,
stigma and demonization where
and
people get.
scapegoating and a distraction from their cannabis cartel that they've carved out for themselves. You go to potfacts.ca, you look in the liberals are in members of the LP community, and you can see how many members of the liberal elite are also
Right.
owners or sit on the board of directors
But I
of
will
the
say
LP.
it's all political stripes though. They're all cashing in, all the cops and all the politicians. And I'll say there's
Yep.
a difference between 2 different types. There's the ones who cash in clearly without any apology or any messaging or anything. And then there's some who actually they have personally been affected. I just did an interview with a reporter who managed to get a sit down with Julian Fantino and Raf Sukar, who are both former cops that are in the pot business now. And he said that Julian Fantino was still kind of, I'm a cop and it's bad, but, it's legal for... Like, he was still kind of a dick. But apparently Raf said that he had... I think it was a family member was using cannabis and it helped them significantly. And he was quite personally moved by this. And that's why he's had a change of heart, really, truly. But... he's also cashing in. So I said the only issue with that is that if these cops were getting into business and if young black youth had the same opportunity to get into business, I wouldn't so much have a problem with it. But the equal opportunity and equal access doesn't exist. And these police and politicians who enjoy benefits and privilege and connections that others don't, they're using that benefit to their advantage to the exclusion of the people that they oppressed. So it's like there's this deep unfairness. It's not even like let the cops into business if the people that they arrested have just as much equal opportunity to get into. But that's not what's happening, and that's the gross unfairness of it.
And it's okay with an LP that spent its money on protecting its black market competitors from harm. I'd be like, okay, well, they're turning bad money into good money.
Yeah.
Because they're cashing in on exclusivity and kind of legalization for the millionaires. But they're turning that around. But I don't know if any LP is actually fighting oppression of the remaining criminalized
Not
groups.
so much. Chuck Rafichi's
Right.
funding some for the driving bill, which is decent, but that's also because his customers are mistake of getting into. But
Yeah,
whatever on that.
It's not
But
protecting the young, it's not protecting the poor, and it's not protecting the non-white. And those are the three biggest groups that are still adversely affected post-legalization.
I've been hammering away on that a lot because I know how important it is because they do use the youth as the reason.
Yeah.
But I said a tweet the other day about this. They talk a lot about the black market, and I'm like, they want to take the industry away from the black market. And I said, yes, and put it where? To the white market. The white old men capitalist big business market so they can sell it. Don't let the black market have it.
Well, and actually
that's kind of...
Jodie, you shared an article from Vice that pointed
Rachel
out...
Brown did a great article about that. I mean, there are actually so
pointed out
many
a big
examples.
disparity, or just that there's not... It's not a very... it's a lot of white dudes.
There's one U.S. state that actually has a program in place to allow for people who were previously criminalized to, and mostly black people, to participate in the new pot market, and that is Oregon. That's because Oregon's initiative was written by an activist, not a bunch of lawyers and opportunists.
Well, there's a note like in California, they're letting people get their records reduced in some cases and erased, but it's not enough because California also still has enormous restrictions and barriers. Only 3% of the existing market was able to meet the legal requirements, so that doesn't work.
It's like
I tweeted it earlier today, and I'm not going to stay for too long, and it's almost 4:20, so there should be some joints going around maybe.
I was going to say almost 4:20. I'd like the 4:19.
Almost 4:20.
We're getting close.
But today I had to
1
tweet
minute.
something because I keep, I've been, if you follow me on twitter.com/Jodie Emery, I'm trying to summarize all our problems into a little tweet. And here's one. I said, we want to be legal and licensed, but only government can legalize and license us. But if government refuses to legalize and license us and then comes to punish us because we don't have legal license, then they're the only ones who can legalize us and license. So it's like, how can they say you are going to get in trouble if you don't get legal, but we will not let you get legal? Oh, look, you're not legal. We're going to punish you now. It's like that's...
You don't have $35,000 a year annual license fee? Oh, too bad. You're still going to be punished and thrown in jail. Oh, you don't have like $1 million for security and accounting features to become an LP? Oh, tough luck. Too bad you're not rich enough to be protected from the cops. And so, if there are any lawyers out there who want to put a
Happy 420!
Happy 420!
Any lawyers are watching
420 in Vancouver.
want to be part of putting together a how to defend yourself in court kit that we at Cannabis Culture and Pot TV can distribute free to everybody, I would be very interested in participating in that. You can contact me through Cannabis Culture. They'll give you my number if you're a bona fide lawyer. And let's get on that, because somewhere in Canada there's a judge who doesn't believe in the cannabis cartel. Somewhere in Canada there's a judge who doesn't believe in the Reefer Madness 2.0. And somewhere in Canada there is a judge who doesn't think cannabis makes the kids stupid and crazy, doesn't think cannabis automatically makes you crash your car. There's no such thing as driving high. It's all impaired. None of it's just being relaxed, hungry, and happy. Somewhere there is a judge who sees what's going on, doesn't want to be part of it, and wants to protect the harmless from harm. And we're going to find that judge somewhere. We're going to start fighting back in court. The moment pot is legal on the 17th, I want everyone to get out there and get busted and then go to court saying, this is overbroad, which is unconstitutional, and it's a necessity to fight against these laws because we want medical autonomy. That's a necessity. That's a necessity defense. There's just two ideas. There are many ways to go about fighting this legally, through the Constitution, through the necessity defense, and other defenses as well that I'm open to hearing from lawyers who are pissed off and don't want to take this shitty legal.
Well, we will find those, but I wanted to get into on the show today a couple. I wanted to talk at first about some of the good things about this bill, the two bills, 45 and 46 that passed. I don't think there's anything good about 46, but we can probably find a few good things about 45, including that they did end up with an amendment. The Senate tried to put in an amendment blocking or saying that provinces could block home growing. So the 4 plants is in there. So people will be able to grow
your own. Plants in Manitoba.
That's right. 4 plants anywhere. So that actually, I think, is pretty amazing. It's a game changer. Although, again, when you get into the details of that, you can't necessarily grow just anywhere you want. And if you are a person who rents your apartment or has a landlord, you have to get that person's permission first.
They can ban it in every which way.
As a medical
bans.
patient, and in the very beginning, because I've been medical since 2006 when I got my license, same thing. If all the renters, we had the same thing here. All of our people we knew, Jodie's nodding her head and stuff like that. All these patients that had licenses, HFA, all these people, they had no place to grow.
Right.
So once again, if you're allowed to have 4 plants, can someone be designated to grow those 4 plants?
But again,
like
they can't.
Right?
Those plants can't be seen by anybody. You can't grow them on your balcony. You can't have somebody be able to look through the window and see them.
Jail time for growing legal plants. It's kind of like when I was briefly in Rome and we met some activists there, and they're like, "Well, medical marijuana is legal here, but none of the doctors will prescribe it, and there's only one company that provides it, and they don't send enough stock." So it's like he said.
Sounds familiar.
The guy held out his paper license, and he goes, "I cannot smoke this paper license for medicine."
Right.
This paper is useless.
Right.
It authorizes me to be a medical user to access legal medicine, but there is no legal medicine to even access. So it's useless. So when the government says, "Oh, it's legal for you," but there's provincial, municipal, and residential restrictions and prohibitions at every level. That's just like a whole bunch of new
But
prohibitions.
the best thing was, is like when I was a patient and when I was in the hospital, I got my license when I came out, and I'll forget, cops came up to me to arrest me, and I pulled out my card.
And you were able to stop them.
And
with
I was
the
able to
paper.
stop
There is
them
some
with that piece
defense.
of paper.
There is
That piece of
defense.
paper stopped me
It's
from
true.
being harassed,
So we need
from being
these
thrown in jail,
papers.
handcuffed and thrown in the back of a cop car, which we got to see now.
So it's good for that.
Any
It's
piece
good-
of
it's-
paper that's going to save us from being accused of being impaired while driving when we're just high while driving? Is there any piece of paper that's going to stop a 19-year-old from going
Passing
to
a
jail
joint
for
for his
passing it
70?
to his 18-year-old girlfriend?
Right.
I'm so high.
So
Although I was gonna say when you were talking about paper, like the funny thing about these papers that give you medical authorization is that like when the cops harass you, you can just roll on out. So it's like a new form of rolling papers. You know? Ha ha ha! It's terrible, but it's true.
But you know what? This is the whole thing. As they let Canada with recreational cannabis across Canada, where there's no smoking zones, you can't be smoking in public and stuff like that. The medical seems to trump that. Where if you're in medical need or you're using it, well, we don't in smoking
not
zones
necessarily
where
in
you're
areas where you
cigarettes,
can smoke, though.
But there's smoke-free zones, so that means there's no smoking of any kind.
Right.
And we see this on BC ferries. We're seeing this happen, and apartments and stuff like that on private. They're coming up with these smoke-free zones. So,
well, the federal rules don't actually limit vapor lounges or anything like that. They don't.
Not federal.
Not the federal ones, but the provincial ones in the province of British Columbia. That one does. It actually has language that would ban vapor lounges. I think we need to look at what that language says.
Yeah,
but
Vancouver does ban them. In fact,
Yeah.
they've been fighting that law for the guy down on Davie Street with the hookah ban
the
for.
hookah lounge.
They are
20
attacking
years.
us on all fronts. So young people, business people, sick people, just gardeners, every front imaginable. We got to resist on all fronts. We need a media campaign that everyone takes part. I think everybody, all the pot activists who ever got busted, have one good arrest left in them. One good arrest.
One good arrest.
Pick an issue, and that's their issue. And as many people participate in this as possible, we have to go to court.
It's sad but
because
true.
we've run out of politicians. None of them are really taking up our voice and saying this legalization sucks and we're going to improve it and we have to do it.
Don Davies a little
but-
bit. Don
Okay,
Davies
Don
a
Davies
little
a
bit.
little bit. Okay, but just nobody has really made it their issue.
No, what you're getting at is the government will never liberate the people. It's always the courts ordering the government
And it's
to
not
do
even
it.
all the judges, which means a lot of us are going to get busted and lose. But we all have to try.
Right.
It doesn't matter if you lose. What matters if you give up before you even try. That's what matters. They want you to be afraid of the punishments, afraid of the hassles, afraid of the jails, afraid of everything. Want to keep us cowering under our sheets. But we're here. We're high. They should get used to us. We need to come out of the closet and get arrested just one more time and then go to court over it and say the Cannabis Act was right to protect the old and the rich. That's fine. We're okay with that. But the young pot smokers, the poor pot smokers, the non-white pot smokers, you're just harassing us. I'm not impaired when I can walk a straight line, touch my nose, count backwards from 100. If I can pass that test, that's the only important thing. And who cares if the young people are getting high? I care that they have access to safe pot in a safe place to smoke.
Yes.
Because I want them to be protected from the real things that are killing them. Suicides, car crashes, alcohol and drug overdoses. This is what's killing our teens. I really give a shit about the teens, and I think everyone else should too, and not buy into this reefer madness, and it makes you stupid and crazy when the IQs haven't been going down and the psychosis hasn't been going up. It's all bullshit.
They keep saying they have to protect young people.
I want to try and
cannabis.
steer us back to some of the stuff in this bill to talk about.
Boy, there's
so
a lot to go through there.
There is, and we're not going to talk about everything today. There's way too much to get into.
Stay too long either
but
myself.
some of the main points I wanted to get through, and some of the so obviously they're legalizing cannabis for some people or for some things. It's 30 grams of dried cannabis that's actually being legalized if you can have on you.
How much can you
non-illicit cannabis? But it's a funny thing. Part B of the act. This is under criminal activities in Bill C-45, which you can go and read online. We should probably put a link in the today's show
chat.
notes for
coming up
the
soon,
actual
guys.
bill here. But it says possession. The part B is. Unless unauthorized, this act it is prohibited for an individual who is 18 years of age or older to possess any cannabis that they know is illicit cannabis. Mm-hmm. So they have to. It's a weird language, but it says
if they see you leave a dispensary,
Right.
they see you leave a dispensary, they know that's illicit cannabis. They
Right.
can bust you.
yeah, and it's that they know is illicit cannabis. Well, odd that they put the words that they know on there. Right?
Okay, well, so here's a really good question.
It's
I was looking at these laws we were talking about that. So if people are allowed to grow 4 plants and they have cannabis on them, they don't need a license. So how are they going to be able to regulate where it came from?
And that's why it doesn't make any sense because you could just say I grew it myself.
Well, yeah. I grew
And
it
so,
myself.
and
I got 4 plants.
and I think that what I keep coming back to when I'm reading these rules over and over
You grew it
again, and that
yourself
Do you have
because you
to
don't.
prove you have a garden at your
Hell no.
house if you
4
say you
plants in your house.
No, you don't have to prove.
no, and that's probably why they put.
How do you
got to
prove you have a
But
garden?
See, remember,
Yeah.
this is going to be about enforcement. So some of our lawyers and other people say that in a lot of ways these things are going to be completely unenforceable.
Yes.
So you won't be able to
Governments
know.
have said that. They've said, how are
Yeah.
we going to enforce that? Manitoba, Quebec, stuff like that. Like, how are we going to enforce?
How are they going to know what's licit cannabis and what's illicit cannabis?
It's pretty much cannabis is legal in Canada, and where it's going to come down to, and really
Right.
comes down to, it's kind of like border guards. It's going to be up to the person that's pulling you over or checking you out, and if he's got a bad day or she or whatever, you got to, you know what? We know that
Right.
with the borders.
And it's sad that I wanted to touch on something that is also important that is left out of this whole thing, and that's cannabis amnesty for people that have already been charged with cannabis crimes.
Not just pot possession pardons.
Right.
I'm not satisfied with just pot possession pardons.
Dave's
No.
got something.
I want to be free from
Here
being
it
a
comes.
criminal.
Yeah, Jodie shouldn't be a criminal.
Kenny,
neither.
you
Yeah,
want?
amnesty, I want that, and
All non-violent, peaceful pot
all the
crimes.
discrimination. But here's one where I think it would be a real media coup if we could get this knocked off in court somehow.
It's
What's
part
that?
of the Cannabis Act.
It's part of the Cannabis Act, Division 2, Subdivision A, Paragraph 17(1). 17. Unless authorized under this act, it is prohibited to promote cannabis or a cannabis accessory or any service related to cannabis, including E, by presenting it or any of its brand elements in a manner that associates it or the brand element with or evokes a positive or negative emotion about
What?
or image of a way of life, such as one that includes glamour, recreation, excitement, vitality, risk, or daring.
Holy shit, that describes me.
That's every
the hell?
pot activist. We're glamorous. We enjoy recreation. It's a
I'm not
recreational
daring.
drug. They
I'm
call
excited.
it recreational legalization.
I'm full of vitality.
It is very exciting
Oh God, I
to be
take
high.
risks and I'm daring.
The-
Holy fuck,
So
I just
They
got
wanna-
illegalized.
They want to ban anybody who has a personality.
No, but literally, your
Or-
brand is not allowed to be associated with these words.
Okay.
That's what all of that
is
means.
such bullshit.
I made a meme. I put it on my cover photos in Facebook, and it is. I'll just describe it to you.
Yeah. Wait, you
Okay.
can show it. Show it to the
If
camera.
you hold it
Oh, I
up,
can show it to the camera.
Can be
Okay,
visual.
right on. Okay, so
Presented.
I will shake my phone until the.
It's like an Etch-a-Sketch.
Sorry, that is crazy that's in there.
No, that's in there.
Anyway,
It's the advertising
I made a
branding
meme.
restrictions.
That's unbelievable.
It's madness.
And the meme was
That's so funny,
all
though.
the words that I thought of when they mentioned those words. And as you can see,
Yeah.
I have for glamour, I've got
Rihanna.
Rihanna doing her thing. For recreation, there's a guy toking on top of a mountain.
Yeah.
For excitement, there's a snowboarder with a guy with ski snowboard that has poppies all over it. For vitality, we got Michael Phelps token up and
Michael Phelps,
all the
yeah.
gold medals.
Yeah.
For risk, we got our cannabis farmers market guys, and daring, we have the people who participated in the smoke-ins in the first place. This is how we got it this far,
They just
folks,
illegalized
using
this.
all of these destigmatizing messages, and we want to continue to destigmatize it. If we don't win this one, we're not going to win any of the other ones, but if we do win this one, we can say, no, cannabis is a life drug. Your antibiotics, those are literally translated death drugs. Cannabis is a life drug, a biotic. It is a living plant that produces live resin that we use to stay alive.
It's the
and to
tree of
stay
life.
healthy. It's a tree of fucking
So
life.
that's-
vitality is
Can't see that
it's a non-starter is what they call it in deal making.
It's like you can't
We're-
call vegetables healthy.
Yeah,
It's
Yeah.
ridiculous.
You can't call herbal medicine anything to do with
Cannabis
vitality.
is vitality.
And it is
is.
rec-
But all those
Recreation.
other words that they chose,
Glamour.
who came up with this shit?
Well, someone who wants to
Jesus.
maintain the stigma, and if they can take away those associations from cannabis, they can continue to stigmatize and oppress us. But
Well,
if we can
that's
fight back and say,
everything we're
no,
gonna
that's
do.
everything a cannabis
I
pothead is. Like, let me introduce you to my friend Jodie Emery, hardly a more glamorous person on planet Earth. She walks around in the nicest clothes with the greatest poise and the most diplomacy, and she is glamorous. Let me tell you
I'm
about
full of vitality and all the other.
Vitality.
That
And
descriptor,
And David,
I'm
don't
just
cut
shocked.
yourself short, David.
Oh,
That
I'm
beard,
daring,
that
man.
beard is glamorous.
I'm a little glamorous. Yeah,
But this
I've
is-
been glamorous in the past.
This is outrageous because you're right. They're trying to say that what cannabis is not allowed.
Risk and daring? Oh, come on. I got high and I decided to take on the entire Edmonton police force on my own. I had like a cameraman and maybe like 2 joints, okay? And nobody was doing it back then. Nobody was doing that. That's called a risk, and it's paid off ever since. I met the hottest women. I had the most fun. I smoked the greatest pot. And I don't regret a bit of it, but you can't say that DML wasn't daring or risk-taking.
No, you for sure were. You know, but I mentioned the tree of life because cannabis is the tree of life. But who hates the tree of life? The government. And why? Because the government is the merchants of death. You know,
Oh.
like oil, pharmaceuticals, alcohol, tobacco, government, prisons, police. Those are the merchants of death and destruction. Cannabis is a tree of life. They kind of just can't really get along too easily.
I know Chomsky, most quoted living human, says, we're at death's door as a species. We're threatened by 2 imminent disasters, and one is environmental destruction and climate destabilization. The other one is nuclear war. And who brought us those things? Well, you know, really the hemp substitute industries. We could be having hemp ethanol as one of our key renewable resources. Instead, we have all these non-renewable resources that are subsidized to the tune of billions of dollars, and all the renewable resources, the ones that don't pollute, are just a little bit of investment, but a sliver of 1% compared to what the oil companies and the frackers and the nuclear energy guys, and these are the guys that said nuclear power is safe. Swore up and down that it was safe, and it's not
And
safe.
the thing is, cannabis, like you said, cannabis is actually the solution to these merchant of death things. The bad things they do to us, destroying the environment. Cannabis, hemp can reverse climate change. All the toxin, like every.
Only
it's
if
gonna
we
change the
remove the
world.
red tape around it. Only if we get good legalization instead of shitty legalization.
Yeah.
So we're not out of the woods yet. We still have to save the
So
world.
much work to do.
If you save the teens, then you can save the poor and the non-whites rights and the
Protect
hemp
the young.
farmers, and you can protect everyone. If you protect the teens, if you protect the teens,
Beans is a funny word.
then you protect the rest
I
of
say
the
protect
community as
girls.
well. Because the whole reefer madness, overregulation, and the discrimination, the continued scapegoating, demonization of our community, the continued arrests, all of them are based on this whole cannabis makes teens stupid and
Yeah.
crazy. So if we protect them, we protect everyone else. They're the key to human salvation,
No,
protecting
they-
teen potheads.
The government tells you everything they tell you is the opposite of the truth. So
Yeah,
take
don't
that
believe
in
'em.
mind.
Don't believe them. Like,
Um,
read their websites, check out their websites, learn what they're saying, of course, and then go to Cannabis Culture, potfacts.ca, herbmuseum.ca, all the things that we've spent the years.
Hashtag cannabis truth.
Yeah.
I've been sharing a lot of that
Good.
stuff out there because the government is claiming to have the official narrative and they're congratulating themselves for getting it legal, and meanwhile the actual legalization activists aren't legal and aren't congratulated, and everything's topsy-turvy right now.
And don't just educate yourself, but educate others. Participate in
That's the whole idea.
growing awareness of just how helpful and relatively harmless compared to caffeine that cannabis is, and start winning those debates and discussions in your place of worship and your dinner tables and where you work, because you know it was a reefer madness lie that made pot illegal in the first place, and it's going to be the truth that makes it fully, not fully legal again.
Amen. I believe in it, brother.
All right, here, let's keep doing it.
Yeah, down.
All we have to do is keep doing what we've been doing for the last 20, 25, 40 years in some cases.
God, how
we
much longer
just
is it gonna take?
don't stop. That's the thing. Don't give up now that it's semi-legal for the rich and the old. Everyone must get stoned. Man.
Yeah.
Everybody
I agree,
must get
I
stoned.
agree. And again, once we stop, like for me, I'm tired of the criminal justice side of things. I just want people to stop getting arrested. I just want drug decriminalization
Right.
and to end the criminal. And once
That
we
was the
stop,
point.
Once
Well,
we
stop
protect
the arrests.
What
once
we're
we
gonna see in
save
the
people,
And now we have
from,
45 new criminal penalties.
Yeah, and once we save people from the harm of the criminal law, we can heal people and the planet with the beautiful cannabis plant. So for my next step, what I want to focus on after the arrests and stuff are over, hopefully, is healing this planet and ourselves with cannabis hemp. And so that's when I'm flying off on
Is
Sunday.
that vitality, Jody?
That's vitality.
Like Freddie's saying in
That's
chat,
on
you
the
know
list.
what?
Good for stuff.
We're not
What's gonna
allowed to
happen
talk
right
about
now-
that. It's on the
But,
list.
It's what I'm doing is I'm going to run soon because I have to leave on Sunday. I'm flying to Toronto, so I'll be out there for 2 weeks to open up Jodie's Joint Cafe. And this is a cannabis hemp themed coffee shop with hemp wallpaper and fabrics and hemp milk and hemp seed goods and all sorts of little fun things. Hemp varnish on the wood. That's pretty cool. And so I hope to expand more into all the ways cannabis hemp can heal the planet and cannabis hemp can heal our people. And instead of fighting against being harmed by our government, we can work on repairing the damage that's been done. So, just want fucking legalization for everybody. I can't celebrate yet, and I said a lot in the last few days. So if you want to see at least 300 tweets at a time,
Yeah,
go to
check Jody out on
twitter.com/Jodie
Go to
Go to
CTV
Emery.
CTV
Screen.
News, go to Global TV.
Yeah,
as
a lot of
seen
info
on,
there.
as seen on every
Coming
news
Monday
network.
and Tuesday, The Sun, Global Mail. No.
Yeah, and soon, and I am going to have some Jodie's Joint video content. That's part of this new cafe. Is there's going to be a little studio connected
Jodie
to it for
Joint.
me to create my little show. My
Jodie
very first
Joint
Pot
Cannabis
TV.
Accessories.
My very first Pot TV show, 2006, was called Jodie's Joint. I did like 3 episodes with Greg Marijuana Man Williams, and that's
Yeah.
back in the day.
Back in the day.
Oh my
Yeah.
God, I had no idea. It's been a wild ride. But okay, so we should
been a
probably.
wild
I'm going to
ride.
shuffle out of here because I got to get going.
Thanks,
I think
Jody,
that's
for coming
yeah,
on,
you
and
got my
thanks for
gist
doing
about
so
the
much
bill.
great media this week, like crazy,
It's-
representing the people who from our
Keep your
community
voice
who
strong.
actually
I-
are seeing through a lot of the hype.
I sound like bad news all the time,
No,
but it's
no,
only
no.
it's because I'm sharing the truth. I'm sharing what people are actually facing and
The
experiencing.
most appropriate response to this legalization is to quote the wolf from Pulp Fiction. Let's not get to sucking each other's dicks quite yet, but of course that wouldn't go over well. You say it much better in your
Yeah.
words.
No.
So keep doing that. By golly, we cannot show a message of okay, we've won, everything's good, and we'll settle
No,
for this.
I
That is
can't.
the wrong message to
It's
send
not
to our
honest.
young people.
It's not honest.
We're not throwing them under the bus.
Right.
Our government is trying to. We're dragging them out from under the bus. That's what we're doing.
And
Yeah.
again, we have to watch what happens with enforcement. It could pan out that they put a lot of these things on the books and they just aren't able or not willing to enforce them.
You're going to see enforcement hard in the beginning, and that's what's going to happen. They're going to be the first
see
people
that
who are
in
going to
the
get
US.
busted
My
are going
question
to get
is, why do they
slammed
put it
against
there
the
if they're not
wall.
going to use it?
And the
that's
doubling
whole
of the
thing. And
police
that's what we're
budgets.
scared of, right? At the
Even-
beginning, that's what they did with Prohibition. They-
Even the Nazis varied their enforcement. In some concentration camps, it was really hard. In Theresienstadt in Czechoslovakia, it wasn't as bad. So they'd have some showcase concentration camps to show the world that they're not as bad. It's a PR thing. So
Right.
remember, in the big cities where the PR originates from, the cops will go a little easier on people,
In
or
the
maybe
smaller,
not, or maybe
quiet
they'll
towns,
come
you're
after us
right.
all. But even the Nazis nuanced their attack. So expect a nuance from these weasels too, because they learned from the Nazis.
They're nuanced
Well, the
weasels.
BC government has announced a new drug
Good
czar
band name.
and a cannabis crackdown squad, and there's money that's being devoted to law enforcement on top of the pre-existing cannabis law enforcement money, which is a huge part of police budgets. And then we're talking like it was $1 billion, I'm estimating, before for law enforcement courts and all that
Yeah.
per year. An extra $1 billion has been pledged already when you add up the federal, provincial, and city law enforcement promises for legalization law enforcement. So I don't know. I can't really, like, I know that they might just want to take all that money and sit around and do nothing, but they don't get that money unless they do something. And the U.S. example, Colorado and California and elsewhere, shows that marijuana law enforcement still happens because they need a way to show what's okay and what's not. And the
Yep.
only way to do that is to put up the people with the nooses around the neck and be like, yeah, we want to be like this guy. You know,
Yeah,
they
set
need
an
to-
example.
They need to set an
And
example, and that's
Enforcement's
scary
going
for
to be,
us.
I think, enforcement for us, and it sounds like what they're talking about is that it's going to be on a provincial level, and it's going to go after the dispensaries, and that's the thing they're really
And
going
the
to.
growers, like the growers of cannabis, because they're the only
The big
legal
growers.
marijuana is the
guys who are
federally
growing for
approved
these
Health
cannabis
Canada.
clubs and stuff like that, and
Yeah.
the ones that are growing for all these dispensaries and stuff like
All
that.
the
If you look at those
small-
laws, you get caught for what they're doing. They're going to give you 14 years in jail. There's some serious crimes
These are
coming up the
very
pipeline.
serious.
Very serious crimes.
Because
If you
the
take a look-
government
and that's
needs-
where education is going to be our biggest and biggest thing is educating these people on exactly what's going on, because that's what I was looking at, and that's what's really going to come down to. In the beginning, they're going to force it hard.
But they're going to take away so many of the activists and people by giving them comfortable, safe places in the new industry so that they don't stir shit
Lots
up.
of people
Or
are
maybe
getting
not.
jobs
Some
and
people
work
are
in the
gonna
industry.
Fight
Some
for
people
what
are
they've
going to be
already
who they
built.
are.
We're
And,
gonna,
you know
we'll
what?
go-
This
we'll
is
survive.
this is a battle for human survival. On the one hand, with true pot legalization that included everyone, then the people who wanted humans to live and evolve and grow, and those who can share the planet, would have a budget. And if you legalize the hard drugs, those who are trying to oppress and control and dominate the world would lose their budget. So what we need is drug legalization on all counts, not just the pot people, not
Right.
just the young, not just the poor, the brown, but the hard drug legalization
No
too.
more drug war.
And then the people who want humans to evolve will have a budget, and the ones that are stopping evolution will lose theirs.
Right. You end the alcohol, dangerous drugs, and you end the prohibition drug harms, and then you move over towards cannabis helping people, and then you move into psychedelics and therapeutic drugs that also help heal people too. So the people who are harmed by the criminal law and the hard, bad, addictive drugs of prohibition, they could be healed by the plant drugs and the other medicines. And in fact, we were watching a documentary trailer earlier, Microdose Me.
We're gonna play that on the show today,
I was
actually.
interviewed for
Microdosing.
it, and I talked about my own experiences with psychedelics and drugs and pharmaceuticals, antidepressants, all that, and about how drug criminalization prevents people from being healed, and that the government prevents us from having the drugs that are good for us and pushes the drugs that are poisonous on us. And so there you go, Merchants of Death versus Tree of Life and the plants. Anyway, I've ranted.
gotta run.
I don't want to talk about. I'm kind of tired of pot stuff. It makes me tired that we have to do this for years.
Then we can talk about anything else
I
for
just-
the rest of our lives.
I want them to do the right thing
When
so
we
I can
really
shut
win.
up. I just
We're
wanna
always going to be
stop.
talking about pot. That
Keep
ain't going to
fighting,
happen.
and then I'll tell you when you
And the
just
winning-
take the rest of your life off.
Right. So
Appreciate you
at
coming
some
on,
point.
Jodie.
No,
Everyone-
this is fun,
everyone
and
likes
thank
our
you
stuff.
everyone for all the hard work we're doing. It's not over yet. We do have a lot to celebrate, but there's
Cannabis
still so
is
much
going to
to
be
do.
legal in Canada, and we're the first G7 of the
The
nations.
headlines off.
Yeah.
The headlines.
Second
everything.
country in the world.
Second country in the world. Uruguay the one
Yeah.
did it first.
It will
And
inspire
they-
others.
But I mean,
Yeah, just
like
the
Jay,
G7
remember we
countries
talked
down
about this?
there.
We're weedifying. The weed's going to be weedified.
It'll
It's
be
happening.
normalized.
The
It'll be
country-
normalized.
yeah.
The
And we're going to
government
see
can't
years
stop
of this
it.
happening
Yeah.
and stuff like that. But the
The-
fight's still real. But
I'm-
you know what? Over time,
The government is overgrown. Mark said, plant the seeds of freedom, overgrow the government.
Yep.
They're overgrown, but they're
Yeah.
weed whacking at the
Remember,
edges
our
'cause they're
people
trying
aren't just going away.
Right.
Some
Or
of them
grow
might be
your
going
own.
to work for Canopy, but
There's all kinds of people working for everybody.
but most of our people aren't going away. So
Yeah.
The other thing is,
Except I am going to go away.
a
Bye,
lot of the-
guys. Thank you for
Bye,
watching Pot
Jodie.
TV.
a lot of the pot piece activists can
Go say hi to Cy over there.
assign their energies and their skills towards getting the hard drugs legal. Now, I know heroin and cocaine are much more dangerous than pot. And they're on the same level as alcohol and tobacco. But
Bye, Jodie.
the thing is, with this opiate crisis, it could be over tomorrow if there was legal heroin.
What
you
the government
legalize-
doesn't seem to understand, though, is that decriminalization is an essential part of legalization, and that's the thing that you want for those other drugs like cocaine and everything else. I'm not advocating opening a cocaine store.
No, I think
necessarily.
there should
Well,
be
no.
cocaine and heroin at the pharmacy, and I
Right.
think it should be.
It already is.
No.
Just in a different form.
It's-
Something you're not
it's
really
so
reading.
controlled.
Yeah, you're
It's
right,
So, okay, and it's not
Exactly.
as good.
I know I'm right. Of course, it's already
It-
there.
It's so hard to get
Opiates
legal
and
heroin. It's not
MRIs,
impossible, but
stuff
it's
like
so
that.
difficult to get legal heroin in Canada. It shouldn't be. If it was
Methadone,
easy to get
legal heroin.
but it's not the same thing. If you have
Well,
a
it's not-
junkie who's
it's-
used to heroin, methadone is often
I
not
mean,
as good.
so
And it
here's
doesn't
something I was gonna
allow
make
you to
for-
operate and keep a job and pay your taxes and be a human
Methadone?
being as well as heroin. Yes, if you look at what heroin does, legal heroin, it's pennies per dose, and it doesn't destroy any of the organs. So if you have a prescription for it, A, you can afford it, and B, you can live to be 90, 100, 110 years old. Because unlike tobacco, unlike alcohol, and unlike a lot of other drugs, heroin does not destroy the organs. What does destroy the organs is black market
Stress.
heroin. Black market heroin is 100 times more
Stress.
expensive than legal heroin. Black market heroin is sometimes cut with other shit like fentanyl. Sometimes it's just replaced with fentanyl. Sometimes the fentanyl dose isn't consistent. Sometimes people die of that. Sometimes people die of the black market or what the rat poison it's cut with. But real prescription heroin is actually hugely safe when compared to its illegal counterpart. So I'd like to see
So
all the
prescription-
drugs legal, and the hard ones sold by pharmacists who have their license can be
Agreed.
taken away if they do anything wrong, and who are really good at getting the doses correct for powerful power tools.
Yeah.
And I'd like to see all the botanical drugs, the drugs that you and I can like grow in our garden and cook up in our kitchen or dry in our ice boxes, things that don't require any sort of solvents or explosives, anything like that. That can be everyone's role, everyone's job, everyone's vocation, everyone's pastime or taste, right? And then the hard drugs, the ones that involve explosive solutions or solvents, the ones that involve overdose deaths are a real possibility. The ones that doses have to be, and the purity has to be, and the quality has to be perfect, or else people get hurt. Give that to the pharmaceutical companies. Give them something useful to do for once. They've been coming out with all this crap. Give them the real good, hardcore hard drugs. Let them make money doing that, and then maybe they'll leave the plants to us.
Agreed.
All right.
Agreed. And on that note, I think we should actually maybe play this documentary trailer at the moment, because a friend of mine, his name's Tyler Chandler, is working on a documentary about microdosing mushrooms, and it's for the purpose in the documentary of helping somebody get off of the harder stuff. So, and it turns out that mushrooms are very good at that, and taking
So is
small
weed.
amounts of them every couple days is very beneficial for you, and actually can get rid of depression and other things as well. So,
Can I say a word about mushroom harm reduction?
yes, please.
Okay, the only
This is a long
herbs
one.
that, like, the herbs that are responsible for 99% of the herb-related overdose deaths are misidentified mushrooms. The ones that people are familiar with is Psilocybe cubensis, one of which is kind of a big white mushroom. The
Yeah.
one that looks really close to that, the destroying death caps and the destroying angels, the ones that grow around North America and can be easily misidentified by a novice, someone who's doesn't have any experience with mushroom picking or mushroom growing, might eat that and die. And so if you want to bring the very small number of herb-related deaths down to an even smaller number, We want to legalize mushrooms, set up smart shops, have trippers who are well versed at every mushroom that they sell, be able to give you advice about how to do it so you can microdose properly, how to do it so that you can trip properly, and safer, smarter tripping lessons are available. And just remove what little harm there is in the illegal mushroom economy and take that down to nothing.
And so, sorry,
well run.
The harm you say is that they get the wrong mushrooms.
They buy or they eat or they pick the wrong mushrooms and they die of a mushroom that you can take one bite of, and then there's pretty much nothing anyone can do, and you'll be dead in one day.
And those grow
everywhere.
Right. And they look like the other mushrooms.
To people who really aren't paying attention, yes, sadly. Big white mushrooms, big slightly off-white mushrooms. These are the Amanita pantheria. I don't know the Latin term, but they're called destroying angels and death caps.
Right.
Thank God weed that grows doesn't kill people. Eh?
Yeah, no kidding.
Because there's no weed out there that grows that kills people. So that's a
But
great
mushrooms
one.
should be made available for people because
Mycelium and how those mycelium belt runs
I've never really heard of anybody dying from taking mushrooms, though.
No deaths on record from the mushrooms that people use to get high.
Yeah.
The psilocybe mushrooms, no psilocybe deaths. There's actually no Amanita muscaria deaths. That's a red famous mushroom with a red cap with the white dots on it.
Super Mario mushroom?
Yeah, Super Mario mushroom. Actually, no deaths on record from that one either, but that one is a dissociative and makes you feel sick. And
Santa Claus loves that one.
Often it makes you feel sick, especially if you eat it raw. Never eat any mushroom raw, especially if you're not 100% sure of what it is, because the toxin levels are higher and the enjoyment level is lower. So mushrooms should be dealt by experts.
Have you ever actually seen anybody eat the wrong mushroom, or has
I
there...
have heard tales of Paul Kruger, who is Vancouver's resident mushroom identifier expert, the guy who the police come to when someone's been poisoned. They want to know what they've been poisoned with.
Oh.
That guy who's written books on the subject and is one of the guys at the steering committee of the Mycological Society of Vancouver. That guy says the police have approached him. So he has to do that once in a while, and nobody should ever have to do that again.
No, that would be really sad.
If mushrooms are legal, there'd be no mushroom-related deaths. If opioids were legal, there'd be no opioid-related deaths. And you can go down the list of these drugs that are dangerous when the black market deals them, but not as dangerous when they're dealt properly. And we could focus our entire educational programs, our campaigns on making people smarter when they do use drugs so they don't hurt themselves with it, because abstinence doesn't work. Same for sex. Abstinence doesn't work. Let's teach people how to fuck properly and toke properly and trip properly.
Smoke weed properly.
Themselves.
Education.
Education's
the key.
It's
keep
the
saying
key
that.
to it all. That's why you're
Richie
watching Pot
Spice
TV.
said that.
Because education is the key.
Education.
And I must make like a baby and head out, because
talking about education, we got a guy here, High Canada, Cy Williams, who does lots of education with his magazine. Is spreading
Canada.
all the education. Awesome
Right
out there.
It's your
so
turn to take over from
we're gonna get Cy up here and
check out potfacts.ca for even
Thank
more
you,
education.
David Malmo-Levine. Really appreciate having you on
Cy
the
should
show.
be doing an interview with David Malmo-Levine after the show, because I'm guaranteed it'd go really well in one of those magazines that I don't know if David even knows about.
We'll have...
So education is the key, and as
We'll
you can
have
hear
David
behind
back
us,
very
this is
soon
happening.
to talk about many things, as we always do. David is actually working on... Hey, he's got his comic finished. Now he's working on part 2.
He's always working.
He's already working on part 2. It's crazy. This guy never stops. David Malmo-Levine.
Yes. We have friends coming in from all over. So, how was the flight?
There you go.
The flight was good. It was good. We left this morning.
You left this morning?
We sent our Saskatoon team driving. They left Wednesday. So they just hit
They had a good
the
road trip.
Unity Cup in Winnipeg. They're making
So as the viewers may not know, but I mean, before they're going to do tell us a little bit about what you're doing and how you're educating. We're talking about education. This is one person that's doing a lot of
High
education.
Canada.
High Canada
magazine is a monthly cannabis culture education information magazine. We print every month. We've printed every month since October 2017. We are in the middle of event season right now, so we're out
Yes,
there.
we are.
I see John at all these events. Let's see, it started with the Indigenous Cannabis Cup in the spring, went through to Lift and Cannabis, and we're in town for
International
ICBC's coming
Business
up.
Conference coming up Sunday, Monday here in Vancouver.
Yeah,
So
not Saturday, just Sunday,
No, not
Monday.
Saturday. Sunday, Monday.
So that's
Definitely.
happening. Yeah, we're gonna try to get some footage for you guys there. I'll be there. We'll have some.
I
of our
think I'm
Cannabis
going
Culture
as
team there,
I'm going
too.
with High Canada.
you, absolutely.
Oh,
There you go.
nice.
Yeah, well, education's a big part. I've been working with Cy since, I've been advertising there since day one.
Day one.
Day one, I've been
Actually, I go
advertising.
pre-day one. You were with us for our
Day
really
zero.
own
Free. Well, you know
days.
what? Education is the
Day
biggest thing that
negative
I've
one.
always talked about, and that's something Cy's been doing extensively and working with the community, and I think it's a great thing that, like Neil over here is shaking his head. There's another educator, so that's what's the big thing about this cannabis community and the culture here is the education. That's our next job. That's what
Oh,
they keep
absolutely.
saying. Our voices
Information,
need to be heard. Education.
You know, sitting on the couch listening to Jodie just now, Jodie is the only one out there who is saying, hey, everybody, look at what they're doing, how they're fucking us over right now.
Yeah.
Forget about swag, forget about, it's great to celebrate, but she's that light in the window right now in the darkness.
No,
letting
it's true.
everybody know that, hey, if we don't speak up and inform ourselves and really
Because
change
the
things now, we're gonna get
community
screwed.
knows, but the millions of people who have no idea, it's
No.
scary for them because at least there's a group at the core of the people that we work with that'll be educating the people around us. But now, really, our job is educating everyone because
Yeah.
they need to know because it's legal, which is fantastic.
But-
But like you say, it comes with some severe consequences if you don't know the laws. And
Right.
really-
Well, and if you
And they're not
if you
educating
don't have
people.
cannabis from a licensed producer or a
Hey,
licensed
wait a
source,
second, you can grow your
government
own.
store or your own.
And how can they prove that it's
Right,
your own,
I
right?
know.
So come on, it's so like we're not getting, we're
Yeah.
past that point. When they said that you're nodding your head, it's like
Right.
it's my own weed.
But that still puts 45 criminal penalties on the books. 45.
How many were there before cannabis was legal?
Well, that's true.
Hundreds.
It's true. It does make it better.
You know what I'm saying? But
again,
we're
they're selling us this thing as legalization, and there's still a heck of a lot of stuff in it that's not legalized. And especially all of the community that's been there for a long time. The cannabis culture itself is still illegal. And that goes for
Yes, it
extract
is.
makers, edible makers,
all the people
topical
that you're
makers,
talking with, sign your magazine and stuff like that.
We
all
talk to
providers
people
of
every month,
cannabis,
yeah.
essentially. But there's going to be licensing paths. So there's an actual serious, the federal government's licensing scheme, we know because Cannabis Culture is going to try, of course, to get licensed. So we're going through the process, and what it takes is a lot of work, and it takes a lot of paying people to do paperwork. And it costs a lot of, if you want to be a licensed producer, for instance, you have to have a lot of land and a lot of money for a facility, and also a lot of help to get you
But
through the
we're
paperwork.
hearing about micro licensing is coming up. They're gonna have certain things, and I do know
Right.
for
That's
a fact
for a standard
that-
LP.
Yeah, like
Or they call them
canopy grow.
LCs now, licensed cultivator, you
And those are gonna stand out
There's
to
a
be-
licensed micro cultivator, and those ones are actually going to be there. We're supposed to announce the price of them today or tomorrow or something, or maybe not tomorrow because it's Saturday. But government doesn't work on weekends.
Well, you know what? Funny you say that because I got a message from a government official here 12 minutes ago, and they're in Regina, so that's to guarantee pastime.
Right.
So you know what? They have to work right now.
Well, yeah.
Overtime. I'm done. We're pushing them. They
Yeah.
do. They got to work overtime. So it's not like they're getting off at 4:30 anymore. They got a job now, and really they got a big job, and we got a big job too.
Right. No, it's
Educating
true.
them because, like I said, I'm talking with all these governments,
But-
seeing what the things
right.
are because it's like a lot of people. What we have to do. It's
Again,
it's
the
next step.
licensing kind of goes this way. There's a micro cultivator. That person would be allowed to get a license for, say, maybe 20 grand or something. It would cost you to go through the process, rather than the cost of getting a more expensive one. Going through the cost of going through a standard LP license process. See, you have to have people help you go through this process.
Oh,
And,
100%. It's like you
it's
need
not just-
certification. You need
Right.
signs off by the city of your building, your dwelling, if it's
Municipality.
municipalities, stuff
Yeah,
like that. It's the
everybody
same
has
thing
to-
as applying. But the thing is you're not applying. The licensed producer is going to take probably the field. Let's see what happens. I know some people there in their NDA, so they're not talking right now because a lot of people
right.
are actually trying to get into being able to help produce for the governments and stuff like that. Why? Because they're scared. They've been growing their whole lives, and you know what? It's what they love to do.
And
they
the
don't wanna
micro
stop.
cultivators, you'll be able to have, if you're an individual, as many as you want, but you have to have different businesses that run those.
I didn't know that part. Tell me more. Yeah, see, there's a lot of things that I don't know that I'm trying to learn, and that's what we're all doing here is we're learning from one another to teach you guys.
Yeah, and then, but in order to sell your weed to the government, and that's the person who's going to be middlemaning everything, before you can do that, you have to sell it to a microprocessor. So a microprocessor or just a processor.
So like a liquor control board
will be a person, yeah.
You got to have your wine
They'll
or
be
your
branding
alcohol
it,
that then
bagging it
gets
up.
bottled by another company.
Yeah.
And that company then brings it to the distribution network that then sells to their stores that retail it out.
Yeah.
It's a setup system.
Those
And that's why they're
people will
following it.
eventually, in 2019, be able to do extracts and things like that. But that's not coming right away.
You're not going to see extracts.
That's what they're saying.
They're going to see BHO. I don't think so. I think their extracts.
You won't see
are gonna
BHO.
You'll never see BHO.
You won't see BHO, but you're going to see a type of extract.
So we're looking at it's either going to be sifting, dry sifting, or a hash extraction or a CO2 extraction.
Right.
So it's going to be ice and water.
Yeah.
Which is friends of ours we know very well.
Right. Bubble-ish.
You can always squish it. And that was the best thing about
Squishing it.
rosin is you can squish it. Licensed producers are going to be able to actually make rosin and use that in extractions because they're talking about edibles and how they're going to make edibles. They're going to be already set forward. It's going to be based on oil base only.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's going to be all these questions and all these new laws that are coming forward. Like I said, I'm talking with everybody and no one really knows either. Even the governments don't know. Their own governments are like, well, we just got handed this like 3 days ago. We got no idea.
And the point that Anil just made as Cannabis Culture in the chat is that there's too much damage to the product when you pass it from person to person. It's a perishable product.
But yeah, I'm a grower and I grow my own, and that first balance is everything. And as I move it from my screens into my jars, from there into a med tan, and then I roll it up or into a bag, it's slowly, it degrades.
You're going to end up with a lot of shitty cannabis, and that's what happens.
100%. You open and close it, you lose an oxygen. It's actually drying
And then,
out.
after you have the micro producer or a producer have the cannabis, process it in whatever way, put it in a package like the ones you see in front of you here that have these little labels with this THC logo,
How
the
this
stop
is coming.
sign, the angry
THC on the lid.
Yeah.
Can I see
On
that,
the
John?
front.
I
Here.
haven't seen one of those.
This is what you look at the packaging for Health Canada.
And it has warnings on it.
On the back in French and in English should be your warning label.
Friends don't let friends buy LP.
No, pretty much if you're pregnant, or if for driving, there's your little. Here's a bigger one.
Drive well enough.
This one's good.
On the front will be your THC values. On the top, where you see that little brand on the top there, that's where you get your brand. That's the brand that we can put just above the label there. That's where your brand will go. So
Isn't
the branding is
THC
very
testing
small.
kind of a fraud?
Yeah, and you're gonna see this on every. And for me, hey, right away, I have these bottles, and I'm having fun because you know me, I always take a Mediterranean and put it on the table. It's what I've been doing ever since I've had one.
Right.
Now I take it out. People are looking at it because now they're like, "Well, that says THC," and I'm proud of that. You know what I mean?
Are they
Because
putting? I saw what happened with the limits to THC in a product. Are they putting some sort of limit
I
on?
haven't heard any if it's going to be over certain. We're not
There was
seeing anything
amendments that had
over.
to do with that. I think, and they
If you look at extractions, it'll be different.
I wonder. We got to look in the legislation to see if there's limits on THC.
I don't think there were specific limits.
No.
When it comes to
Yeah.
flowers, they know the limits can't get over a certain percentage. It's pretty much hard, and we know that as growers. You're not hitting anything. 28, 30 is like some rare.
Or limits for
31.
extracts, like. Would
But
that be
extracts is
stupid?
going to be something different. Yeah, what
See,
you're looking at is a
It's funny.
child.
These guys don't get it.
A credible type packaging, so it's all CSA approved. So all your packaging has to be a child resistant, and it has to be accredited for child packaging. That will be
Really?
all the packaging has to be child proof or child resistant
Oh
of
my
some type
Lord.
of packaging.
Is that will be child resistant?
It's 100% accredited child resistant, CSA approved. Not that one.
Why not?
Coming in probably about 2 more weeks,
one's not approved?
this one also will be a child resistant. Well, we have always stood for standardization and freshness and quality
I
control.
can't get into it.
Exactly. It's a push top. That's because it's child resistant.
It's a push top.
It's a push top.
you push on the top part.
You push on the top part. So all your packaging, if it's going to be edibles or anything like that, is going to have to be something. They have locking bags. We
That's
see that
kinda
with
cool.
We see that with Med Relief. They got locking bottles
that's
with
kind of
keys on the
annoying.
bottle, stuff like that. Yeah,
don't like
Jared's like
that.
it's kind of annoying,
It is.
right? Exactly.
like
Chocolate bars are
these.
easy to get into, and so is soda pop, right? So I mean, but this is what we're looking at. This is the starting stages, and then all your top on the top of the bottle,
It's harder
or
than
the
a
top, on
bottle
the
of
top
liquor.
of the bag.
Bubblegum vodka is easier to get into. just
Bubblegum
crack the
vodka
top.
is easy to get into.
Yeah, and they put it right there on display when you walk by the liquor store, and you can see it from the school across.
And
the
I already
street.
have licensed producers that are already ordering the bottles for recreation and the medical market and stuff like that. So it's just one of those things as we're moving forward in industry, education.
Yes.
That's the biggest thing, and that's what I always stood for.
Well, and we have to. I mean, there's going to be this transition where the black market is going to still exist for a long time until the government gets shit right. Because you think the extract makers are just going to go away?
No.
Like, it's not going to happen. People want their shatter.
100%, and
People
that's
want
where
their dabs.
where you're always going to have
Nobody's
a
going
different
back.
market, right?
Now the dabbers are going to turn all activists.
Okay,
crazy.
so I mean, and when you look
Yeah.
at at all the stores and stuff like that, any of the government stores will not be able to sell any accessories for extracts.
Yeah.
So all of your Cannabis Culture stores that are opening up all across, having all this stuff, will be able to sell certain things that
We just
other
open it
stores
on a
can't.
different floor.
It's just moving with the system and stuff
You
like
just
that.
open the
So-
pot store
Ancillary
downstairs, follow all their
businesses.
stupid ass rules, and open the lounge upstairs, and they can, the
Well,
lounge
it's just
isn't
like
gonna be legal at
anything
all
else
either.
like that. We've
Our
been doing
lounge
this
will
for
be
years.
illegal.
At
We are not
4:30,
closing
we
our
we
lounge.
could
No
smoke
way in hell.
downstairs, and we've been doing that since 1985 or whatever down in Amsterdam.
They're gonna have to
Cafe.
drag me out
At
of here to
4
close the
o'clock,
lounge.
you couldn't smoke.
Kicking
At
and
4:20,
screaming.
be rolling. At
Chain- I had to
4:30,
chain
when
myself
the
to the door.
doors were closed, we would open up, be able to smoke downstairs.
Me and Neil will be chained.
So I mean,
Well,
night
Yeah,
shops,
me and
right?
Neil
I mean,
will
what's
be
going to
chained in
happen?
here.
Education, and it's way how we read those laws. It's like when I'm fighting WCB work. It's how those laws are interpreted, how they're read, and then how you educate people on it.
right.
Because there's the law is just so huge, but the best thing about it is cannabis is legal.
It is.
The thing is, I think that the government will come around and they will make allowances for the things we're doing.
Okay, so Canada is sent permits around the world. Just think of what's going to happen in 20 years. You're going to be able to get on a plane and go anywhere we want. You're going to land. There's going to be weed shops right at the airport. Come on, this is just the starting.
Yeah, and
Right.
hopefully everybody will get educated, and once everybody gets
Trump's
high
even
on
talking
weed,
more
they'll get
like
way
more
smarter.
positive about it.
Absolutely.
Dumb politicians will die.
So I mean, you're
They'll
doing
get
lots
old
of
and be
interviews.
gone.
Si, you're working hard in the industry.
new
I mean,
generation.
what are people saying? What's coming out in the magazine? Tell us some news.
There's a lot of exciting things going on. Pressing right now, people squishing their own is probably the thing I hear most about. Everybody wants to press their own. Everybody's interested in starting off their own little press. They're interested in upgrading to the better presses. The last couple parties we had a party here in January. We had a Gorilla Rosin Press was here. They were also at our party at the Hotbox Cafe. Yeah, squish extracts, and people were squishing, bringing their own to be squished.
Cannabis,
It's
they
a
had a live
sensation.
squishing extract at the Cannabis conference. They had,
Yeah.
come
Yeah.
watch our live pressing.
Yeah,
Same guys too.
Same guys.
Yeah.
Gorilla Rosin Press. Love those guys.
I love rosin.
So
me
what
too.
now? That's a weird thing that it's going to be illegal to just take what you have and squish it.
No, you can. It flies right. Health Kurt, when
So-
we did on my baby, and Kurt may mention that slid right underneath the ray or anything talk with him. It's perfect. You can squish away, man. Heat and pressure,
Absolutely.
1000%, man. You can squish away as much as you
But-
want. There's
so- but
no
the-
law around it. It's
There's no
100%.
law against extracting with a press.
100%.
Really?
What's great about the press too?
Yeah, you're smiling, but you can squish away.
You can do dry sift as well. Then I guess.
100%. It's
the
about
press
chemical
forces
separation.
people to learn more.
Exactly. Education is the key.
That's
You get
funny
somebody
though.
excited about something.
Can of Clamp's
That's
going to
really
be awesome. Get
that's
those
gonna
today.
Be,
Rosin
everybody's going to
clamp.
be doing rosin.
Hey, you know what?
Yeah.
The handheld can of clamp,
Taste mine.
rosin clamp. I've been talking about that and pressing since
Yeah.
the Death of BHO video that got
And
ripped down off of
get that
YouTube.
Can you
enjoyment
take
of the
your
process.
rosin and somehow? I guess once it's squished, it doesn't ever turn into a shatter-like product. It's always more.
You
of a
can do
butterized
that.
product.
You can make it. You can. Here's the whole thing. I can take rosin. Okay, I can turn it into a butter. I can then put it into the freezer, make it into a puck. Then I can take my rosin clamp, my can of clamp, and I can set that temperature at a proper amount, and I can squish and make THCA. I can change everything. You know what? The people have no idea how much you can do with heat and pressure, man.
But
It's
they're
gonna blow your mind.
eh?
Like, look at me, because I'm getting goosebumps
So
talking
can
about
you-
it.
so can you
it's
make
the next
Can you
wave.
make a shatter-like product?
100%.
You can.
Yes.
And so
it's how you press it. Different heat times and temperatures. You press high, you're gonna get a shatter type material. You press low, you're not. You know, people are
So there
nodding
you
their
go.
head here. It's all
So
education here, guys.
People just going to program a bunch of recipes and like here
It's
you go,
programming,
off the races.
recipes, education, and get the knowledge out there 100%. Because if you can grow 4 plants at home and there's no size limit, okay, get that one. 4 plants, 10-gallon pots, veg them for 2 months, let them grow into big trees, whatever. Then you can learn how to extract that resin. And if you're doing it properly, you're going to be able to time yourself. You'll never have to buy cannabis again.
Nope.
Yeah, right there.
Absolutely,
Nope.
100%.
If your landlord doesn't mind.
Well, you know what? And then that's where things are going to come into play with more education, more laws changing, municipalities being able to. Like I said, the Maddox Grow Tower, 4 plants. You can put it in a corner and grow 4 plants. You know what I mean? Like,
There will be a storming period.
there's gonna
where
be
we
a
shake things up and find
period.
out HR, real estate, landlords. You know, there's going to be a lot of uncertainty for the first little while. Probably
Yeah.
the first 18 months.
And the one thing that disappointed me was all the different provinces coming forward right away when it came to the landlord boards. Like you heard about in Montreal, you heard about kind of Toronto now and the condos, and it's like,
Oh, yeah,
you
grab
know
the
what?
mic.
I've invested so much into living in a nice place in this, you know, whichever economy you're in.
Yeah.
Around Canada, and it's like, you know, you can't enjoy your own home. You know, smokers for tobacco had to fight to smoke in certain places, and then now
Yeah,
They're
'cause
still
that's the
getting edged
difference.
out.
cannabis.
Yeah, the smokers
And
are still getting
especially
edged out.
taking away your right to grow, like, is that going to also influence buyers in certain areas? Well, can I grow here? Well, if not, then you know what, you might see some market fluctuations for sure.
100%.
I was so disappointed, you know, to hear about it, and you know, also
Someone
being
says speak into the mic.
and also being
picking up, yeah.
being a renter myself, you know, the one thing I noticed is you want to have the freedom. You know, it's already nice if you have a landlord that accepts medical or any kind of, you know, smoking cannabis. And you know what, to see them moving forward, I saw that moving behind unless people come forward. And if they don't come forward, like, they're just going to let the landlords basically pass
Yeah.
through this, and we're going to get walked over.
Well, we fought
have
that
to
with
fight.
medical in the very beginning, and we
Right.
fought those rights. I mean, you can't deny someone's right to grow their own cannabis if they're medical.
And
And
we
we
have to
were
keep
doing that
fighting.
in
And
one of
more
the places
recreational
down here on
users, yeah.
Granville. And everybody in there were living with HIV. They said they can grow. It's just they're given right. They're dying. They can grow their own weed.
Yeah, the medical side, I'm not really sure how that fits into these.
Well, like Jodie was talking about, this medical side is where we're going to start trumping with a lot of
Right.
people, because the endocannabinoid system, the body's own THC, how it helps heals. It's a master regulator. It's preventative. Everything. I mean, come on, it's medicine.
Right.
Everybody should have
And
a license.
I see a real drive by the government to try to sort of disassociate cannabis from its medical qualities.
Because it's going to cost them money if they do.
Right, and if you saw earlier when they were reading off the long list, I think you guys just missed it, of all the things that you're not allowed to associate your brand with, all the different kinds of lifestyle qualities, and
Oh,
one
I'd
was
love to see that
vitality,
list.
and yeah, it was like feeling good, or what were all these different things?
Yeah.
You like glamour, yeah,
Campy.
daring.
Yeah.
You're not
Shoot
allowed.
me
to-
that list, please.
So if you're
Yeah.
medical,
John.
and this
Right.
this is what was talked about on cannabis. It's the medical patient, the medical that's going to overtake this country,
Right.
and they said that. And that was some of the big. You were at cannabis.
Yeah,
you
I was
know
at
they're saying.
Cannabis, yeah.
I went and saw I would listen to everybody talk, and you know what? It's very interesting because it's different. Because this is one of those conferences where the last couple I've been at, the roots have more or less been kind of pulled away from. Now the suits have stepped into play. Best way of saying it. And you're seeing big business come in with all these different regulations and laws and ideas, and I'm listening to it and seeing how things are panning out and stuff like that. But I mean, it's just a big change. And what you're having legal cannabis, but once again, education is where we're gonna be able to get above all of this and really
Yeah.
see how things are gonna work.
Well,
out.
and we're gonna, when the first legal cannabis is available from government stores and their
Squish it.
in those like sealed
Let's
packages.
see those
that
percentages.
you're not actually allowed to look at the weed before you
It
take
has
it out
to be
of
an
the
opaque
store.
in an opaque bag or bottle.
So you have to get it home and then find out what it looks like. So
Well, that's
we'll
where-
we'll be cracking open a lot of weed on this show to find out if it's good or not.
We're going to be squishing a lot of weed on the show. Because really, that's
Yeah.
an easy way of seeing what percentages you're getting. So,
Yeah.
and here's another big thing: if you're dealing with with the rec market, you'll be able to walk into a store and be able to pick what you want. Go get yourself a sample, and hopefully they're going to give out samples like they do in beer stores, and so you get this little sample.
Yeah.
Or they're going to give a little sample joint. Who knows?
Oh,
That'd be
that
great.
would be awesome.
You know, if there's no law that says they
Walking down the
can't,
street
right?
in
There's
5 years,
yeah, you know
free
what I mean.
sample,
Here's
love
your little
that.
sample. Here's your little. Go home, check it out, right? So same thing. Sample
you.
it. Go into the places, find out what you're getting. They're going to come in different increments. Guaranteed you'll be able to buy a gram. You won't be able to buy anything probably smaller.
I think people are just going to do it, and the government probably won't enforce the rules. You know?
You know what? We're gonna see, like I said, in the beginning, what we fear is the very beginning is where the enforcement's gonna come hard and try and then
Right, and
scare
they're
enough
talking
people
tough.
to just stop.
They're talking tough right now. Farnworth was on the
Yeah,
news.
they're talking. They
He
have
says-
to.
And he says it's not going to be the federal government. It's not going to be the municipal government. It's going to be the provincial government that takes care of enforcement. It won't be the cops.
And they just funded
and it
them
won't
a
be
bunch
the
more
bylaw
money.
officers. It's going to be the pot czar and the dispensary czar, and they'll have a team of G-men going around the provincial police.
So
that'll take care.
basically, they already have a list of people they're after. And they've been researching them and writing down that data. And I've said that for years. Everybody who's been, they're getting the data.
I
They're
don't
going to
think
get a knock on the door.
there's no
One
way
of the
we're on it,
cool
right?
things about being a
Yeah, right.
national is we get to pay
We're probably
attention
at
to
the
what
top.
goes on, across regions. And bylaw officers in British Columbia, holy shit, you guys have to deal with it over
Oh
here.
yeah, no, it's crazy.
The
Oh no,
Hang
our
on.
bylaw officers, we
I-
all have. There's injunctions against most of our places and all kinds of stuff. So, or they're trying to get an injunction against us. So we're in a court battle right now with 52 other dispensaries that we're doing a test case here in the city of Vancouver, like a constitutional type challenge, where we're saying this is not.
it's exciting.
Yeah, and it's happening here in September.
September, okay.
So we
Oh.
could, but if they say no and we get shut down, which we're very likely to, it means that means they can shut us down, and they can get an injunction against us after that quite easily. So that would be troublesome. But if we're not part of the test case, they could do the exact same thing anyways, and then we'd have to pay like $250,000 in legal fees instead of doing it all together with everybody in one big
Yeah.
case.
Well, the whole thing
do
is,
it now, do it right.
Yeah.
is people by numbers change governments. We've seen that through history. You can't do
Yeah.
it by yourself.
There should be on a
People
t-shirt.
by numbers change governments. That's it. And
Yeah.
I've learned that
People by
all through
numbers
my
change
fights and even my
governments.
fight with WCB, the fighting force and the people that started fighting for patients
I love that.
with cannabis.
Yeah.
And with like the coalition, it was people by numbers that toppled the government and we were able to continue growing as medical patients. We wouldn't have been able to do it without the people.
Yep.
It's up to us, it's up to you. Right?
Yeah.
Because you just can't sit on the couch. You just gotta get
Well,
up and do it. I
Yeah,
learned
so-
that.
So that these
I had
are
to
the
get
famous,
out of bed in order to
famous
fight
people.
this. You know what I mean? I couldn't just sit there even though I was injured. I had to crawl out of bed
The chat
and keep
right
fighting.
now-
My right to fight, my right to be able to use cannabis as a medicine. And when WCB said it wasn't a medicine and they tried taking that right away from me, I got 21 appeals. I got 7 WCAT decisions on BC Supreme Court of Canada to have cannabis covered for seriously injured workers. That's been a fight of mine since 2006.
Yep. A lot of hard work and
there's a
activists
lot of hard
fighting a long
work of
time.
people fighting a long time for this plant to be able to be
Yep.
recognized. And you know what? That's the next step. The education with medical and how it's helping people and helping you. Helps
And
me.
so
Learn from the people who know.
the chat right now is talking about famous people associated with LPs here in Canada, and Snoop Dogg is part of Tweed. He actually owns some of Tweed.
It's
Everybody's
that's
got shares
tragically
in
hip.
companies of some sort.
Up Cannabis.
Yeah.
What else?
The Trailer Park Boys.
Trailer
Oh,
Park
yeah,
Buds,
yeah.
guys. That would be your organic.
Organogram.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think
They also do have a deal with famous brands. Do all their auxiliary product at the Trailer Park.
I'm pretty sure I saw a
Famous
press
brands.
release.
You have
Yeah,
MedMen,
famous brands.
who's dealing with certain things, and that's dealing with Supreme. There's, you got all of these people moving
I
into
saw
the
a
industry.
press release that said Jay and Silent Bob were doing something with Believe.
That's awesome.
That's okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That was interesting.
See, but here, as we're hearing this, look at how we're all smiling.
Yeah.
Come on,
Cool.
Yeah.
you're smiling too. You know what? I mean,
Yeah, and it's awesome.
we
See,
couldn't do this before. We go to jail
It's a
for smoking a joint in an
normalization.
alley.
I don't-
We'd be arrested and thrown. I mean, come on.
From
you know
what
what?
I
There's
know of
good.
Believe,
There's goods
they're
and
not
bads.
as bad
but-
as the other guys.
Pardon me?
From what I know of Believe, and which is a little bit.
I'm working with the guy there. He's working for Lyft for so much time.
Those
Is
guys
it
seem
Chris,
like they're-
or- you know the guy I'm talking about? Guys working with Believe now.
actually half decent.
Peter Koskett.
Peter, you know what? Another great
Amazing guy.
and he's working for a great. You know what? I mean,
Yeah.
that's what I see. Here's the
Amazing
people
guy.
that really truly
So,
stand out.
I think
in
what's
the
going to
industry.
happen are there's going to be some good LPs coming really soon.
There's going to be
you know?
good people working
Yeah.
with some good LPs, and like anything, there's some bad fucking businesses,
Because-
and there's some bad, and that's just.
These guys, there's some people who actually want to grow it organically and do it the right way, where it's not full of pesticides and full of
100%.
gamma radiation and all this kind of shit. And it's getting easier. There's going to be the micro cultivators and these big guys. So the big guys are going to have to compete with the micro cultivators.
You're gonna
because
have your.
They're going to grow better cannabis.
cheaper line, and they're gonna
Yeah.
have your connoisseur line, which is gonna be
Absolutely.
your Canopy's coming out with a line, and you have your Trailer Park Buds, Organic Grounds got their. Everybody's gonna have their line of their special weed that I'm gonna buy if I need it.
Your loyalty brands.
Exactly.
And
You
we're
buy your
already
Coca-Cola or
doing
you
it
buy your
with
Pepsi or you buy your
glass
no
and
name.
everything. Like Trailer Park Boys, like their bongs set up with the silicone bongs, like those are great. So it's already it's establishing a really cool brand image in Canada when you can go out and buy the bong and smoke their dope. Same thing with.
I was in
vaporizers.
S&M Cafe yesterday. They got everything Trailer Park Boy, Trailer Park Buds. You know what? And people love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, although I
Go to
think
Cannabis Culture, you
I
guys
think
got so much
Organigram already did a recall on something that was wrong with
Everybody had a recall. In the big. I think every company's
I was
had a
with
recall.
Metrum, they had a
Yeah, recall
6 months
Aurora.
ago.
Everybody
What
I've
are
heard has had a.
What is
had
it
a-
that they're recalling the marijuana
some
for?
stupid nutrient that was giving
Yeah.
some type of something over a 0.0 red reading. They had to go 0.8 and it was 0.9 or 10. And it was so stupid recall. Because, you know what I mean? It was like,
Yeah.
I'm just being, realistic because I've heard some of these recalls and stuff like that. And you know what?
But some of the
That's what
LPs are
legal
putting
cannabis
illegal
is.
shit in there.
It's making sure it's safe for the end consumer. And they're pulling back something that is, that isn't really harmful,
Well,
but
they
in
can
their
spray
eyes,
a whole
it
bunch of
can be.
substances on the weed, right? They're allowed to
That
spray.
doesn't come up in the test.
Right.
They listed what they used.
I'm sorry, I've been doing
Right.
this a long time for a lot of hydroponic stores in Queens and help a lot of friends get licenses. And you know what? Endhall and all these chemicals and Nova and Avids and the time bombs and all the harsh chemicals. None of that can be used in LP weed. Zero. That to me right there, it's people who grow medicine grow great medicine, but people who grow it for money will do whatever it takes to bring it to market. That is what hurts people.
You are correct about that. And it's not just again, we attack the LPs in a big way, but private growers do a lot of nasty shit too.
But because for them it's a paycheck, they got to bring it to it.
Right.
If they don't have it, it's what I mean. And I've been in the industry a long time, and
Yeah.
I know people that
That's why the answer is testing this shit.
yeah, and that's the whole thing, and that's what you get with legal weed. You get 100% safe, where grandma's got no
Right.
problem going down to try it for once.
I said before that THC testing was bullshit, and I have a couple qualifiers for that, but the other kind of testing isn't bullshit. But what's the problem with it is, in a way, it's also, there's something that cannabis itself doesn't really lend itself to testing very well. Because when you test one bud, that doesn't mean that the bud that's growing next to it is going to be anywhere
but
remotely
then you
the
look
same.
at the profile, and that's what testing is all about. It's the profile, and that's where people got to take out the THC levels, and you do several testing without the plant, as you know.
Right.
A lot of people know I had moments. So I was always looking at profiles.
Right,
And when
but
you learn
that's
your
still-
profile, then you know what you're getting for yourself.
Yeah, but I mean, that's still, like I say, that's not actually testing it completely. Like, if you're testing a bit of a batch, how do you test every single part of that?
We
There's
know.
ways that these guys could get around these things quite easily, right? So again, I mean, I think we just need to be careful, and you have to actually be a connoisseur of the product. Know the weed. If it's burning black, you got to light it all the time, and it's really like
Throw it in the garbage.
makes your lips numb and shit. Don't smoke that stuff. 'Cause
Don't smoke that stuff.
It's got bad
Well,
stuff
see,
in
you know
it.
what? That's the best thing, because as we roll forward, if you buy weed from an LP or from a legal market, it's burning black, you might be able to sue somebody.
Yeah, right.
No. Wait a second. It can cause disease or anything like that. Like,
Yeah, I had my medicine recalled.
There's a difference,
and
like-
I found out maybe 6 to 9. I found out about 6 to 9 months after the fact.
Right.
So for an example, I was glad that there was testing done, but to find out after the fact and after I've bought it, it's like, well, I can't really send it back. You know, so I thought in that kind of instance, like they need to have better controls right away. Like you're using this product, you don't just buy it and sit on it for 6 months unless you only need to microdose and take very low
Need to
doses,
prove damage, yeah.
right? So
Right.
if you get a prescription of,
I said
let's say,
probably.
yeah, 30,
Sue.
30 grams a month, and you need to smoke a gram a day, and then 6 months after the fact, well, I've just now smoked 6 batches, and if I order the same stuff, it's now 6 batches.
Standardization that's the hardest thing when it
Yeah.
comes to cannabis and when you're growing it. Growing your own is the only way you're going to get truly something that you're going to appreciate. Really helps you and stuff like that. If you can't, I mean, it's
Again,
try
going
back
back
again.
to information and education,
Yeah.
learn to grow your own.
Learn to grow your own. I've
Learn
been
to
saying it from day
squish.
one. Grow your own, grow in peace. And now with the legalization, you can grow your own. You can grow in somewhat peace.
Again, if you're a rich fucker, you can grow because you have your own house or your own place. But I live in an apartment. How am I going to grow? And you know how many
I'm going to
people-
work on that.
A lot of people live
I'm working
in
on it.
apartments.
We have to
And-
work on that.
And how many people, not even just in an apartment, but have a landlord? How many people own their own home? So that's what it's not going to be just as easy as everybody can grow
100%.
now. So that's why, again, I'm celebrating.
Nah, no,
I
I'm
think
celebrating with this
It's
joint.
cool that Canada was the first or the second country, I guess, to actually legalize in the world. First G7 country, as Johnny said before.
It was the first.
The first G7
The first
country.
G7 country to legalize weed.
And
The
that's
second
Right.
country in the
something to
world.
be proud of.
But
That's
what is-
that's the huge.
Very, very proud
Portugal.
of.
This is Brown, maybe.
Or wait, it was Uruguay, right? Sorry, Uruguay is
Yeah, they legalize all drugs.
yeah.
I was even excited
They're
in
the
Canada
first.
for them. Like that it sets a kind of standard.
It's
And
cool.
That's what we're gonna have to do.
It sounds good on paper,
Yeah.
and when it's broadcast around the world and everybody knows us for legalizing marijuana, that's pretty fucking cool.
That's history right
But
there.
That is history.
That's
It-
some serious
and-
history.
And I think we, as activists, have been working a long
Have made
time
some
to get
serious
to this
history.
point, right? Like the narrative in the press and the narrative from the politicians is that we finally did the right
But
thing.
look
came
where
around
a lot of
without
people
any
have
pressure.
started and moved forward. Look
Yeah.
at Philip Lucas. I remember when he just started working with him back in like 05, and he was Vancouver Compassion Club.
Yeah,
And that
Philippe's a good guy.
was- He's amazing, and look at how far he became a city assemblysman.
But-
Started educating, sitting on
But again-
platforms and moving, and now
Again,
he's
I guess
fucking-
everybody does their own thing, but Philippe, when he starts working for Tilray, that's where he works now. We actually asked him about Tilray's policies and why Tilray, the people there, haven't come out for activists and for other people and say it's wrong to criminalize cannabis and actually get on board like activists have. And like his other, Philippe Lucas was in threat of going to jail for cannabis. He was part of the VIX case.
Yes, 100%. He
Right.
funded the whole
and,
thing.
Right. And yeah, that was, he
That
won.
was the big thing, and he moved forward to actually do more education and him working with Tilray.
Right.
Now his whole thing is for patients. He's helping.
But he
a
told
lot
me
of
that
the
they couldn't
people
get
with,
involved in any of that.
PTS syndrome.
They wouldn't comment on any of that stuff. And
I
so,
don't think that
Yeah.
part of that. I know his direction and what he's really focused on is helping people who are suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder with alcoholism and drug addiction and stuff like that.
And I've heard
he's
that-
done some amazing work with that with UBC and with veterans down in the U.S.
Yeah,
and how
and
that's
actually,
moving forward with veterans. So
Philippe did some of the best research on prairie plant systems.
he did some of the best research. And
when they were doing the gamma radiation blasting of all the products. Philippe wrote some of that literature around what that does to cannabis and why that's not a good thing.
in 2008, he sat on he was an NGO, non-government organization representing Canada on pharmaceutical drugs and harm reduction with cannabis, and he spoke. I'll never forget that speech when he was sitting there talking there. So, yeah, you know what? A lot of the people that we've known have come quite far to help it make it to where we are today, and it's great to see that. Like with Hillary, all of us, Mark, everybody's been kind of like plugging away here. I talk too much.
No, there's a lot of activists who've been working for a long time. And a lot of them are now working for companies that are,
You got Freddie. Look at how much he's been doing. I remember Freddie. He's out there like plugging away and getting the word out there and making sure and helping everybody. Everybody's helping which way.
Yeah, no,
See people go
I
out
appreciate
and get the
all of the work and getting to this point. I think it is a very amazing thing that cannabis is legal now or will be legal on October 17th here in Canada. It's pretty awesome. Even if that word legalization is a little bit deceiving because it doesn't really include decriminalization.
We got free weed.
So, yeah.
We freed the weed to a certain
and,
degree.
and I think that, again, it's about enforcement. Look at how much weed's all over the place, and are many laws against it that are much harsher.
Look what we've been seeing in Vancouver for the last couple, 3-4 years, the dispensaries and everything else. I mean, it's just great to see now that, you know, it's just the way you look at it. The dispensaries, there's going to be no more selling of illegal weed. It'll be all legal weed. And
when the arrests stop, I'll be a happier person. So now we have to wait till October 17th. So again, though I'm celebrating, that's great. It's odd that the government knows that this is hurting people's lives, knows that the laws are wrong, but they're still going to criminalize people until October 17th. Why not just stop criminalizing people now?
Yeah, I'm just kind of curious.
What is the fucking point?
What officer is going to charge someone for possession of smoking weed or anything like that, or even trafficking a joint to somebody, like passing a joint over there?
They said it's still business as usual, and they came out and told the cops.
That's a waste of taxpayers' money.
Well, you know what? Like, I got pulled over,
real.
charged, and arrested and everything with my license in hand, and they still had to go through.
I'm sure
the
most officers out there probably have the common sense to use their discretion to see it's bullshit.
Right. But the problem is, unfortunately, police officers usually like to use whatever they can against you. And if 29,000 possession-only arrests last year. So that's not including people selling weed.
Is that Canadian or that's Canadian?
How many?
29,000
people got charged?
arrested.
Well, I was one of those 29,000 a couple times. I think I got charged a couple times last year. And I'm a medical patient.
We haven't talked yet about the new driving rules.
Oh, shit.
This is the bad part, even worse part. Bill C-46. And that includes some really nasty stuff. They're talking about these nanogram blood level limits. And unfortunately...
How's that work with people who are medical?
Yeah. No, it doesn't work with anybody who's a chronic smoker. And actually, it doesn't really work with anybody anyways. Because people like...
2 hours.
Ross Rabagliati and others have had very minute amounts in their system, and they've been tested, and it lasted for weeks after they weren't even smoking. The guy's a chronic and swears he wasn't smoking at the party, and it was other people were smoking. But again, they say that a person who is a regular user of cannabis can have large levels of nanogram blood level limits or whatever for 2 weeks, 3 weeks afterwards. So anybody essentially who's a chronic smoker is going to be illegal for weeks.
Well, they say that after 2 hours, you're ready to go. If you do a dab, it's like smoking 10 joints.
Yeah, right.
Don't think you do.
Yeah.
I'm just...
No, but they're doing testing right now in Kelowna. The police are doing voluntary mouth swabs.
Yeah.
Testing for how British Columbia is going to enforce the cannabis driving laws.
For a drive.
So they want to swab your mouth so they can test your blood. But again...
So when it comes to cancer patients...
should be measured by them doing an impairment test, not something that's in your blood. Your
blood be
doesn't tell you how impaired you are. That doesn't make sense. It's not like alcohol.
Here's an interesting thought. If you're taking any synthetic cannabis through cancer treatments or anything like that, I wonder how that would hold up against these testing. And if they're just looking for a legal, I'm just thinking in what they're looking for, because if you're medical and you're taking Marinol or Remeron, all these synthetic sprays, there's also the one synthetic spray that is offered through the medical. Would that be testing, and would you not be able to drive? I know people who are being passed to drive on 10 milligrams of methadone. 10 milligrams of methadone, who's someone dealing with chronic pain can drive a truck.
That one's totally destined for court.
How about that?
Because I noticed that Chuck Rafisi from Canopy actually wrote a little tweet that said he looks forward to working with Kirk Tusaw to get rid of the bad law around driving, around this bill that passed. So even the guys who, Chuck Rafisi, who's the former Liberal government, I guess it was for Justin Trudeau's campaign, he was the chief financial officer for JT's campaign. Then he went on to found Tweed and worked on, I guess, the founding. He was one of the early guys at Canopy and everything else. So,
also involved in that Second Cup deal.
Second Cup deal, NAC, Hot Box Cafe, I think. Yeah. So, and what's that? Verp?
Also, he's got his own talk show. He's got
his own show.
Biz.
Yeah, the Biz. Yeah.
The Biz. Yeah.
So these guys are kind of hijackers. But Chuck, I don't really like unfortunately, like I appreciate a lot of the work that he's been doing, but he's one of these big money guys, and they're taking a lot of advantage when other people can't. So he, to me, kind of epitomizes.
It's like Aurora. They're buying up everything.
Yeah, they epitomize this, like, taking advantage of this thing that nobody else can, while not trying to help anybody else get the same benefit as them. In fact, scorning them and saying that they want to be the ones in charge of all of them, and kind of being really crass about it in a lot of ways. So I don't.
Yeah.
I'm not a huge fan, to be honest, of any of these big companies that are trying to swoop in and try to buy everybody up. And, you know, they have like apparently I just saw a thing that said at the ICB conference, Kirk Tusaw, Matt Barron, and Hillary Black are hosting a thing for Canopy Growth that's like, pitch us your cannabis business idea. Because Canopy Rivers or something is
they're doing
going to be signing people up or trying to like get other, I guess they'll
I'm on
own
my
your
way down
business
to
or
there.
something. I
Why
don't
not?
know how that works, but
They're offering $1 million to pitch a business. I
There
think,
are
what it,
a number
That's
of
the biggest
these.
I've seen so far.
are they? But is that you get to take it and do something with it, or is that you have to make
Yeah.
a deal with them and
You have to
I'm
make a deal with
pretty
them.
sure you have to make a deal.
right?
No, it's
So
100%. You would have to make a deal. Someone's not going to give you $1 million and then let you take it to the next competitor.
Right.
Yeah. No, it's.
Right. So
We're
as much
looking
as
at all different things and being able to.
I think that's a cool idea. I do think it's a cool idea, but again, it seems a little just like vulture-ish.
There have been a number of these cannabis investment pitch events.
Yeah.
There was one a couple of weeks ago put on by Investio in Toronto, and Mary, Virginia from Mary's Wellness was one of the pitchers.
Okay.
She did a great job. Nobody got any investment, but 5 big companies stood up there, did their little song and dance, very Dragon's Den. It was interesting.
Yeah.
I'm seeing a lot of the conferences utilizing this as kind of a draw for attendees and new businesses.
Oh, well, now they're even talking about they're going to start going to all the festivals and stuff like that. Like there'll be really all of these big cannabis shows. They're going to start fading away, and all these big LPs are going to start going to the beer festivals. You're going to start going to these other.
I saw a tweet at the outdoor festival.
There you go, the outdoor. They're going to be everywhere when you go
in
to
the
the
new advertising restrictions.
No, but it opens it up, and then they already said that.
Yeah.
Yeah, they can like if you're going to go to the outdoor show for the BC Outdoor Show, and you can go down there in a bunch of boats, tweak and set up a booth.
Yeah.
So it's just like they've and when you got over 100 licensed producers out there, they can't put up billboards, but they can go to all these festivals. The farmers market's going to have a booth that's going to say Canopy Growth.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because they can be at all these events, just like we were with beer, right?
It's just like, yeah.
We have one other person out there. Who's
It's
coming.
McWeed.
McWeed, yeah. Weedifying.
McMarijuana.
Lots of things.
And indigenous cannabis going to be a big thing this year too.
Huge.
That's
huge.
Watch out, LPs. You're going to be put out
Yeah.
of business by
Yeah.
what's going on with the
Yeah,
indigenous
that would
they're
be
doing
good.
a huge thing, and they were
Holy
really,
crow.
really big at the
The
Ocana
amount of
conference this time.
products and
Yeah.
I saw a lot of
brands.
indigenous, a lot of them coming out there with all of their plans. What they have, 100 so many dispensaries.
And
they
will
got this,
how
that.
will the government be regulating what they do with it?
Oh, that's
Wow.
not.
I've heard that they're in
It's up
negotiation
to-
for that now or something, and I heard that the feds are just kind of tromping over it at the moment, but that there might be more that they're going to do about it or something. Like, do they have complete control over what happens?
Sovereign
Well, it's
lands.
it's sovereign land, and
Yeah.
it's like the National Territories or the Yukon Territories or certain places. Yeah,
And it's
I
not
mean,
just 1 or 2 or 3 groups. This is a national thing going on.
Right.
Huge.
Like groups all
She
over
had their card in
Canada.
front of me. I remember they had
Yeah.
some really nice. Yeah, they got the
And
little.
it's going to be massive, and the amount that they're going to be able to produce off sovereign land and pump into the black market here in Canada is going to put. Why would anybody go to an LP? Honest to
Right.
God, and
And
that's
the Yukon is like presenting a lot of good opportunities for people. Like I find that like they're kind of presenting themselves as a province, as a territory to say, hey, come here, start your cannabis business. You know, in a sense.
That's cool.
I kind of like that. Like they're kind of bringing more people as
That's the
more
smart
as a
way to do it.
community. And it's not so much, it will be competitive, but it's starting off and it's starting somewhere, and that's the
one of
biggest
those.
point that I've seen here in Vancouver is, they're trying to normalize shops and make it, just like how you go to the LCBO, you can go to your shop. And I noticed that right when I came here from Toronto, right away, and it's something interesting, and I hope to definitely see it across Canada.
You mentioned it when we got here, how normalized Vancouver was.
Oh, we smoke
with
weed
this
everywhere.
Cannabis, yeah.
It's BC.
Yeah.
Bring. Oh, I'm not saying.
Oh yeah.
It's BC.
Just let us enjoy our dabs.
Yeah, you know what? That's one thing
Yeah,
about
that's
the
the
cannabis
thing.
culture here in
It's just
Vancouver, in BC and everywhere. Oh yeah, I'm up here. I
Yeah,
got some of the
exactly.
sweet dabs from my friend the other day, and they're nice.
Yeah, you guys should have one of these. They're pretty amazing. So, yeah, you're right though. The dabs and all the and people really rely on edibles a lot too. So, I know down the way those things will be legalized, but
They're legalizing edibles and how they're going to be able to make those edibles and those extractions. They're not going to be like with BHO. It's not going to be a distillate. I don't think they can do distillate.
I don't think you're allowed to do anything with BHO at all.
No, zero, because it has to do with...
Like in not just for weed, but for with anything at all. Like you're not allowed to do butane extraction in
Zero.
Canada for
You
any
can
kind
with
of
coffee.
plant. What's that?
Coffee. Hi.
You're not allowed to though, right? Hi, Dominique.
Dominique walked
Hello.
in.
You can
She's
come on
waving.
here like you did last week if you want to. Even just to say hello. Yeah. Hello. Good to see you.
Hi, Black
Awesome.
TV.
You have to say hi.
Dominique again.
Dominique.
I haven't seen
How are you doing?
in so long,
We haven't seen each
actually.
other in so
This
long.
is like
Yeah.
we all need to get together and such.
We need to get together. This
Yes.
is the
Definitely.
cannabis community right here.
Yes.
We all hang out.
Yeah, we do. I'm actually off to work though. I gotta
Oh,
go serve
good.
some drinks at warehouse.
Oh, what? You're working at warehouse?
Hastings,
That's
yeah.
awesome.
So if you
That's
want some
excellent.
cheap food and drinks, come see me out Hastings warehouse.
Shit, might have to do that after the show.
So,
Okay,
we
but
going
I
for
gotta
dinner
go.
to the warehouse? We'll see you
Yeah.
there soon.
Bye, Dominique. We'll
Bye,
see you
Dominique.
soon. Let's hang soon.
Just call me.
I will, for sure. Oh, sorry. I'm a bit...
Everybody's
Terrible.
so busy. Jerry's like,
Yeah.
Jerry, you don't even answer. I call you. I get a voice.
I answer when I
I
can.
normally have to send you a picture.
I'm often in meetings, John.
I know.
Yeah.
That's okay.
My life is all twisted and turned now.
He's busy.
Yeah, I'm a busy guy.
Oh, I think my parking.
And
spot now.
partially because Cannabis Day is happening, so July 1st here in the city of Vancouver has been Cannabis Day for the past 20 years too. Like, I don't even know. What do we got on Cannabis Day? 2 minutes on Cannabis Day.
2
There's a
minutes on
video.
Cannabis Day. Coming up next, Cannabis Day. See you July 1st, Cannabis Day
minutes
down
on
at.
Cannabis Day.
It's going to be Main and Terminal again, like last year that I missed.
Oh yeah, it's the big Pacific Central train station, Main
And Terminal.
Main and Terminal, or
Main
Main,
and
yeah,
Terminal.
what is it?
Main and Terminal.
SkyTrain station.
Main and Terminal.
Yeah.
Putting marijuana in the hands of children, not just with the 15 joints that 12-year-olds can have, but with the 4 plants per household that little Johnny can go put some in the toaster oven and smoke it up.
So we're gonna try smoking weed out of a toaster oven. I just put a bud in there. Nothing seems to be happening. It's on bake mode right now. Do you think I should switch it to toast mode?
Yeah, let's get toasted.
So I don't know.
If anything, we're just gonna like decarb it.
Are we gonna be able to get high? Is that?
I mean, I think
Need,
that's
like,
what
a
the lady
straw.
was implying.
I mean, it's smoke.
Oh my god! I actually
Yeah.
got the taste of cannabis there.
Yeah, totally. Well,
I just want to thank the conservatives for this new smoking method.
that's right.
Oh, toaster hit.
It just kind of tastes like campfire, to be honest. Biggest safety issue of this whole situation would probably be the toaster oven itself.
There's a lot of Canadians out there that are worried that when marijuana is legalized in Canada, that they're going to use Canada Day to come with flags that have cannabis on them. Everybody will have a t-shirt with cannabis on it, and it will be disgusting. It will absolutely denigrate our country and the people that have served our country and made Canada a proud country. It will deface that.
4, 3, 2, 1. Happy Cannabis Day!
It's been epic here today. I think we've really reclaimed Cannabis Day after having a couple of bad years, the city trying to interfere with us. This year they left us right alone. It was beautiful. It was awesome. We had such a great turnout, so many vendors, and a day of freedom in the park. So this has been a great day all around for everybody here. I don't think we had any problems. I didn't hear any problem anywhere going on all day.
We want to make dispensaries legal in the city of Vancouver. And then what they do, they put regulations in that ban 95% of those dispensaries. So that's not real legalization, that's fake legalization. So until nobody goes to jail again for marijuana, you can't call it legalization. That's real legalization.
And for me personally, I got my project here of giving out cannabis to people that are suffering with the addictions with opioids and risking their lives. And we're giving away cannabis, and it's been an awesome day for the project as well. We've met a lot of people, we've got a lot of donations in, and it's going to be a big boost for our project.
And we're going to keep doing it no matter how hard they fight against us. Look at what we built under Prohibition. So under their fake legalization, we're just going to keep doing what we do. We're going to keep fighting for freedom. And we're going to keep telling them cannabis is safer than alcohol and opioids and tobacco and sugar.
So a beautiful Cannabis Day in Vancouver 2017. Now we're looking forward to 2018 where we do it all again right here, where this is going to be our home for the foreseeable future, I'm sure.
Yes, we're back here. We're
We're
back on the air now, just so you guys know.
We're live.
Yeah, we're live.
We're live. We're back. And you know what? Can't wait for Cannabis Day.
Yeah, Cannabis Day is going to be fun.
It's gonna be fun.
Last year it was awesome.
We have the Great Canadian Glass Gathering going on the same weekend, so I'm here for Cannabis Day.
Yep.
Isn't
Got
that
the
on
big
tour?
stage.
No, it's actually going to be at Burkham. Back
No,
to
I
the
guess
old
they
original
didn't-
roots.
The tour didn't work or something.
The show didn't work. I don't know the exact details, but the Glass Gathering has gone back to its original spot. It's just falling on the long weekend of July 1st, so it kind of makes it hard for a lot of people that love both things.
Mm-hmm.
You know, torn.
Some people are traveling down.
And a
that
long
are-
weekend, and then it was already
I talked
pre-planned.
to
So
people that are going up
all the
early.
people trying to get camping spots up there, everything's sold out. Laura Lee, all the places that you try to get. So it's pretty much you're
People are
camping
going
on
up early
site.
to Redbeards and then coming back for Cannabis Day and then going back up so they could set their tent up and get up there early.
Yeah,
And
so you
then-
have to go up on a Wednesday.
Yeah.
And leave on a Wednesday. Go up for the Thursday, the pre-party Friday. Saturday is the big gathering day. Sunday is Cannabis Day. So it's like you get up early Sunday morning. We're talking like 4:20 a.m. guys. It's a 2.5 hour drive into Vancouver.
Yep.
And you will make it here for 9 a.m. to start setting up your stuff and involve for Cannabis Day. That will
And
go.
for those who don't know what Cannabis Day is, it's kind of like just a mini 420 at a different place in Vancouver. And we used to actually have 420 and Cannabis Day at the same place in Vancouver, at the Vancouver Art Gallery.
Not anymore.
But we don't do it there anymore. Now, actually, this spot is way better. And it's a
It's
nice
outdoors. They have
grassy area.
They have a little farmers market out there the other day. I drove by.
Beautiful. Oh, they did?
Yeah. It was Wednesday. Yeah, I drove by there. They have a big
Is that
farmers
the
market
same?
out there.
That's
Neil on
not-
the corner that said
that's
every
not Rupert
Wednesday.
Dave, is it? Oh.
No, not a it's a farmers market. It's a
Thought maybe
regular
he was
farmers
moving- just
market. It's
move
not a
business
cannabis
over
farmers
there.
market.
Love to go to a cannabis farm.
I know they shut us down.
We had one. We had a cannabis farm. Well, and that's what Cannabis Day is. Is it will be a big, big cannabis farmers market, and people selling all kinds of products, everything you can possibly imagine. They'll be there, out in sunshine. We're gonna have activist speakers, awesome music by Lieutenant Irie and his crew, and he's the music manager this year. So we'll have a bunch of different people there as well. It's gonna be pretty awesome. Last year was dope, so this year should be decent. And we've got our posters all being hung or already hung as we speak. The sponsors we got to list off right now too. Yes, let me.
For what?
For Cannabis Day.
What am I sponsoring?
Did you? You want to sponsor?
Well, I always do something.
You still owe money for a long time ago.
Huh? For what?
You still owe me 420 money.
Do I?
Yeah. Slightly.
That's what I was talking with Ron
Not much.
downstairs. Huh?
Not much.
All the
no.
med tenders they've been selling downstairs now.
Oh yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So
we
you're
got
pretty
the
much
med
squared
tenders.
up away.
Oh.
Yeah, there's a lot down there.
Yeah. Here we go.
Because we did a great thing. So if you want a 420, Vancouver 420, 2018, 2017, 2016, 2015 Medtainer, some of those are
Yes.
collectibles. You can never get them. Where do you get those? Shh. Cannabis Culture headquarters at 307 West Hastings downstairs. You can get your collectible 420 Medtainer. I started doing that in 2013. So you guys pretty much have a lot of the old back stock, and that's where you're going to get your 420 Medtainer now.
Cannabis Day sponsors.
There you go.
We have Cannabis Culture, of course. We always sponsor, and Pod TV. But we have the Medicinal Cannabis Dispensary, CushOil.com, Lisa's Bong Shop. Is that what it's just straight called now?
Bong Bong.
Lisa Le E-Vape Bong Bong Supply.
She supplies
Two
bongs?
bongs? Bong supply. Let's get a shot of this card since we have it here. And
So nice, I said it twice.
it's kind of a cool card, actually. And since we got that cam, we can actually go back to that cam for a sec. That's our entropy e-nail that was given to us, which we talked about a lot on the last show, and we'll be talking about every show. Since it's sitting right there, and it's got the branding right in the cam. Yes, that's the entropy e-nail. They gave us this for free. We actually,
nice of them.
on the show, we're just like, hey, we need an e-nail. Who out there's got one? We'll advertise your product for you. And they're like, somebody sent us this. The cool guy sent us this stuff. So
Send me.
Was it an
So now what we're looking for sponsors, we're looking for hash sponsors.
Thermodynamics.
Awesome, right?
Yeah,
Awesome
thermodynamics
sponsors. Hell of a good guy.
Wait, we got to get that. Is it .com?
We got Weeds, Glass, and Disc. Don's always out there supporting Cannabis Day and has for a long time. We've done a lot of first ones there. I mean, we're down there.
Videos are on YouTube are hilarious.
Medicinal Cannabis Dispensary. Of course, you guys, you're all sponsors because you come down. Si's a sponsor of Cannabis in Canada, basically. He's sponsoring all the good education.
Yeah, so how's High Canada going?
High Canada's been great. We just our new issue just came out. Just came out yesterday, hot off the presses. We talked to Cheryl Schumann about her transitioning globally.
Is she going to be here on Monday?
Mexico. Yes, she'll be here tomorrow.
She'll
Mexico
be here
to Canada.
How long is she here for?
Till Wednesday.
Should bring her by Carly's show on Monday.
We would love to.
That would be awesome.
Wow, that just happened.
Yeah.
We talked about it already.
Yeah,
so
we did.
That's a great idea.
We did. She has lots of things to talk about. We sponsored the recent Canna Mexico Summit in Leon, Mexico, and Cheryl was down there doing her magic just on a more international scale.
If we've had her on the show before or if I've just spoken with her.
Spoken with her.
Yeah, I know. We've had definitely had contact and stuff. Oh yeah,
she's pretty amazing.
Yeah,
has a great story. She's transitioning here to Canada, just through Mexico, and just finished all her stuff in Mexico.
Yeah.
With that Canada Mexico Summit, she'll be here this weekend at the ICBC. Come check her out. Come say hi to her over at our table.
That's awesome.
Come say hi to all of us.
Come say hi to all of us.
Yes.
We'll be rocking.
Because you're going to be there, aren't you, Jared?
I'm going to be there. Yes.
I'm going to be hanging out.
We don't have a booth there, but I'm going to be there just.
You're press.
I'm going as. I didn't actually get a press pass. I'm just going as the CEO of Cannabis Culture.
Smart.
Yeah. But these guys are going. These guys got press passes.
I don't know if you got. Did you get one of our special April issues featuring strain print and there's a set of 3D glasses in every issue.
Oh, what? Dope.
That's why the 3D glasses. I was like, where do these 3D glasses? So I got a pet of 3D glasses sitting on my desk at the office.
What?
We have a great feature this month. Jen Larry talking about what's going on in Quebec and the translation dilemma that we don't know enough about what's going on in Quebec right now in terms of cannabis, municipalities and regionally, because it's not being translated. So
exactly.
And now that we have Jen Larry contributing regularly to High Canada, we're going to be hearing a lot more about what's going on in Quebec, Montreal, Gatineau, Wheaton. So it's very exciting.
That's cool. And these things are amazing.
Killed it for me.
Sorry. Look at that. Whoa.
Got the cool.
Things are crazy looking right now.
You did a big article with Jodie on this too, didn't you?
Yeah, Jodie kicked off our year with our January issue. It looks so good. She sounded so great. It was such a passionate feature. We did an episode on our YouTube channel as well.
I am.
Where we sat down.
Perspectives.
Yeah.
Look at it, 3D.
Higher perspectives. Yeah, as a monthly, we get to have fun and change it up. We get to talk to 3, 4, 5, 6 different groups every issue. We bounce around from
once a month.
Once a month, we come out around we come out digitally on our website at probably about the 10th of every month, and then we come out in print around the 15th to the 20th, depending on print delays or
There you go.
Whatever. We get out every month though.
I love the smell of it.
Me too.
Magazines smell good.
Magazine smell. We talk about magazine ads
It's
and
UV
stuff
coating.
that gets out there, but that's one thing you do is you get your magazine out there, which is important.
It's
and
nice to have a
that's-
tactile, something that you can actually hold in your hands.
Whatever
And
MedTainer's coming out with, all the time, and It's nice.
Oh, we're always having fun.
It is fun.
The best thing about High Canada is it's a community, it's a family. We have High Canada magazine reps from coast to coast.
It's awesome.
We have like people in on their way to Saskatoon right now for Hempfest.
Awesome.
We have more members of our team meeting us
Speak
here
of
in
the devil,
Vancouver for
there's Jodie.
ICBC. We're
Very
heading
cool.
out to Nova Scotia in July. We're going to be doing a lot of things in Quebec over
Nova
the
Scotia.
summer.
What's happening in July, Nova Scotia?
Well, we're
I
going to
can't
go.
visit.
We're going to go visit Trenton because we understand there's a thriving cannabis community there. Not Trenton, Truro. And then there is a big cannabis festival in PEI at the first week of August. So we're going to check that out as well.
Nice.
So lots of cool things happening out in the East Coast.
I see cannabis moments
We're
here,
gonna
but I don't
stop
see
in
me.
on Wheaton on our way, the town of Wheaton, Quebec. That's has built its entire job creation. Everybody in the town works building this cannabis community.
That's awesome.
They have I understand training facilities, grow facilities. A licensed producer is working hand in hand with the community
Really?
to do something different, do something meaningful and lasting that's really going to pay it forward and pay back the community. So I'm looking forward to seeing that. We're going
That's
to be
pretty
doing
cool.
a big story on that.
That's awesome.
So,
Great work,
the
guys.
education
You
out.
guys are doing some serious,
Yeah, he's been doing
excellent
great
work.
I love it.
And so you can find these all over. Where do you find them if you are in like a big city? Is there places that have them, or do you?
We try to have distribution hubs in every city. We'll be going to be dropping some off here. We do the BC Pain Society and commercial. We encourage people, if you can, to download them for free off our website or to subscribe for the low price of $4.20 an issue.
That's the way to do it. $4.20 an issue, not bad.
Thank you.
There you go.
Love my favorite number. It's been very good to me.
Yeah,
It's
and
been
that's
very
a
good to a lot of
price for a
people.
magazine. I love magazines. I wish the Cannabis Culture still had our magazine. When I first came to Cannabis Culture, I started as the editor of CC Magazine, the print mag.
Yeah.
And
Fun
yeah,
times.
it was pretty amazing.
It was a
doing
good
print
time.
mag
You just
stuff.
love. You know what? He's always got the really crazy glasses. It's one of his things. So as soon as he puts them on, he's like, yeah.
No, I'm keeping these on. These things are dope.
Well,
everything looks amazing, and
Canada's
I'm
legalizing.
looking at the thermodynamics.ca website with the glasses on.
Their
It's
If you
like-
can
videos
see what
are
he's
the
looking at,
funniest
you would think
things I've
they're
ever
awesome.
seen. You got to
Yeah.
check them out on YouTube. Thermodynamics.
Yeah, thermodynamics.
Funny.
yeah, these their
stuff.
videos.
Their videos on YouTube are
Yeah.
flipping hilarious.
Their website looks pretty awesome, and just looking at it with my glasses looks insanely awesome. Everything pretty much looks awesome with these things.
You know what looks awesome? Weed growing. It does.
So
I really
yes,
like
it
it when
does.
cannabis grows, and just the look of it and the smell of it. And I just did this transplanting because I'm going to grow 4 plants
Yeah.
in 4 different ways. So I'm going to grow 4 plants in pots, 4 plants in these auto pots, 4 plants. I'm going to have fun. So when YouTube allows me to start uploading again, you'll definitely see me back on YouTube doing what I love to do, which is growing my own. And I'm going to do 4 plants in probably about 16 different ways. No,
It's
I'm
crazy
kidding.
that we have people not just to fight
4
with the
different
government,
ways.
but we have a fight with like private business that doesn't like cannabis for some reason and puts us on their like chopping block. YouTube unfortunately went crazy on everyone.
It did.
Oh yeah,
Shut
they
down
ripped down a lot of
ton
channels.
accounts, yeah.
And I don't know. I got lucky because I lost 9 of my videos. But my whole thing has always been education, and I'm not selling it. I don't know how or why they take down channels or what the reasons for it.
Especially when you see medical education, there's not a lot of medical education videos out
Medical education videos. There is not a lot of them out there. And when they took
They
down
don't
George
want you to
Cavanti's channel, I mean, that was a big hitter because he's got a great educational channel, and that's what his channel is about. Same with Remo, other people. Everybody's got those
Remo.
channels that are, and I mean, there's only a few that we heard of to probably the millions that were taken down because of gun laws and this and
Remo's
that.
got his back now, right?
Huh?
Like we got ours back.
So did
Remo got his
Cushberry.
YouTube back?
Cushberry got his back as well.
Yeah,
Remo got his
Pati-
YouTube back?
Yeah. Yeah, we
I know, you
were
guys
the
were.
first to get ours back, but then
Yeah.
Remo did.
Did he get his back?
Yeah.
I didn't know he got his back.
Yeah.
Woohoo!
But apparently he's got a strike against him again already.
Yeah, that happens instantly.
But
Yeah.
the thing is, it's nutrients, and this is where it's really drawing the line.
Nutrient
You're
line.
Seeing reviews, like Michael Cushberry would do reviews, and he simply just, he's not, promoting any unsafe use of the product. He's really demonstrating for people that need to know, and to see what happened with Meditainer as well, especially when when you guys are moving forward with cannabis legalization in a positive manner.
Yeah.
With cooperating with the laws.
Yeah, for sure.
It's kind of like a slap in the face. Definitely. So.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I did want to get into what's going on with this.
Did you see my face?
What's this,
So I was looking at. I had this little thing down here. So I goes, "What's that for?" This is my little carrying. And I like to carry things. So this is just my canister where I carry like Meditainers and then I see people who I love and then I give them these free little packs of like with boba in them. Or
that bucket's cool though.
Samples.
That lid.
I was told I have a bleeding heart syndrome. So when you see John, I'm always like, "Hey, have you seen one of these?" And if they say no, they win. And if they say, "Oh yeah, I got one of those," well, of course I'm not going to give you one. You already have one. So, but I'm always looking for those people that need to know more about cannabis and
Just
stuff like that.
Just because you saw one doesn't mean you got one.
Exactly. So I'm always walking around with all of this stuff.
This lid? Yeah. It's got this cool
humidity packs and
system that suctions it closed.
Suctions it closed, keeps it airtight.
What?
Now thinking when I put my little pack in there and I put my humidity pack in there and I put another little pack in there and then take all the oxygen out of there and how that
have you
weed
tried to
stays
pry the
green
lid
forever.
off?
Doesn't that sound pretty cool?
It does.
Doesn't that?
Sounds amazing.
Doesn't that sound amazing?
That sounds
Is that
so
sealed?
cool.
Is that airtight, watertight, like a Meditainer?
Airtight, watertight.
What? And it's two-way humidity control on the jar?
Inside here.
Oh, that's for the baggies.
Yeah.
Yeah. But this is cool though. And are you selling these?
If you want some, give
or
me a call.
Or did you just sticker this up with your own shit?
No, I'm selling those and I put my stickers on them yet.
Really?
Yeah.
I want one without the stickers.
Well, then put your own sticker on it.
I will.
Okay, so yeah, it's just my little jar.
That's a cool jar.
I got my parking right now. I'm out of here at 6 p.m. I've been hanging out here for a couple hours, and I love you guys, and I love everybody else here.
Well, Neil Magnuson, I'm sure, would be our co-host for the other half of the show here.
Neil's jumping up here.
Neil also is in the house, and but we have actually a whole ton of videos to play that we haven't even got to yet.
I know, me talking.
And before we get into all those videos about the Bill C-45 and 46 and everything that's been going on, I've got a good little chunk, so we'll try to rip through them as quick as possible. I wanted to play this documentary trailer, which we didn't actually get to, called Microdose Me. And it's this trailer's in this movie they have been making, and they've made the trailer for it. The whole entire movie isn't finished yet. They're still raising funds to finish the last part of the movie. So if you really like this idea and think it's great, go and actually check their Indiegogo site out so you can donate something, because this is a very cool cause. We'd love to get as much support for these guys as possible. You'll see why when you watch the video.
I can't wait.
So let's throw it on.
Throw it on.
Do you think those people downtown grew up thinking that that's where they wanted to be? Do you think they want to be face down with their pants on the ground and like fucking needles sticking out of their arm? That's no way to live.
Like, my only friend is heroin.
Addicts tend to feel alone and depressed.
All I think about is drugs.
Magic mushrooms allow you to change your mind.
Psychedelics will be able to help with many mental health problems.
There's one that fucking nails it right home.
I made it my life's work to make sure that people understand the power of this, because I think it can transform the world.
God is not coming.
Opiate addiction is completely unbearable.
So sick of this.
I'm just trying to find out what a microdose is.
She has to go in and find out why she's an addict.
Memories will come up that they never were conscious of before.
I have a memory of going to this house.
She's reliving some moment over and over and over. Something happened in that house, right?
Adrienne, are you still with us? What's the best way to love yourself?
I don't know.
That's good. Now you can look for that too tonight. We ended up going to the hospital just to make sure that she was okay.
I should be dead from 20 milligrams. I didn't feel a fucking thing.
You better fucking give it to me. They were restraining me.
I'm still in withdrawals.
Make it stop.
If it was easy, it wouldn't work.
I just want to be okay. Dad.
I'm a father, and that really hurt.
I miss Tango so much.
When it turns, it's just there.
That's iboga. Try to deal with it.
All of a sudden, that soul has a new set of eyes to look through.
Sometimes the scariest thing we choose to do is take the dose.
My journey took me to some really dark places, but I guess that's where I needed to go.
Thanks, man. Yeah. So that looks cool. Microdosing mushrooms as a way to get rid of depression and get off of hard drugs. What a great concept. I know from personal experience that mushrooms are therapeutic.
I love my mushrooms.
They're pretty amazing.
They're a good reset.
And this whole idea of microdosing I really like because it's something that's
we did
easy
it with
to do.
weed. Microdosing for patients who are suffering from cancer and stuff like that, and we're overdosing on things. Microdosing is probably one of the best things to do.
And
if you
it's a
truly
cool
need
experiment with
therapeutic
your
way.
consciousness.
Yeah, right.
Because it like actually can help you in a lot of ways. But I just like where mushrooms takes you anyway, you know? I don't know about doing it every day, but every 3 days you're supposed to take, I guess, a small amount, like 0.5, say, every 3
Every day.
days.
Oh yeah, every day.
No, these guys say that with the mushrooms.
Neil, what's your thought
Wait,
on
hold
mushrooms?
Let me just say this. These guys say that with the mushrooms you don't do that because you build up a tolerance too fast if you take it every single day. You have to take it, let your system let it out for a couple days, then take it so you don't build a huge tolerance against it and have to take more and more and more and more.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what they say.
I'm sorry. I thought Neil might want to come here and talk about mushrooms, but
Oh, Neil probably does.
I'm gonna get up. He's gonna come here.
All right.
I'm gonna grab a toke of this joint. I'm gonna walk out the door. I might even meet you for dinner. Let's see what happens.
Sounds like a plan.
I think Sai's coming over for some dinner.
Cool. You guys should go to the warehouse where Dominique works.
Apparently, we're going to the warehouse.
I think we're going to the
I
warehouse.
think we're going to the warehouse.
I might be joining you in an hour when I'm done the show. So speaking of that,
So
we should
see
probably,
you guys all down at the warehouse.
Yeah, we should
At
probably
the
get to playing some of these videos because I went and clipped a bunch of internet videos today, and with the help of Neil, we have them for your viewing pleasure, or distaste, depending on how you feel about them.
Here we go.
But the first one, I think we're gonna go through them in order. Do you have them basically in the order? Yeah, the order that they came in the email. Yeah. That's really the only order that's good. I
Everything
kinda
just
thought of
changed.
it as I was doing it.
Yeah.
Doug Ford was first, I guess.
The first one was just the generalized one about legalizing. Was that maybe it was the Doug Ford thing? Yeah, I think it was. Yeah. So just before we play it, I wanted to talk about Doug Ford a little bit. So out in Ontario,
Jesus.
of course, you got Premier Ford now. And for the, if we have any American people watching and who don't know who the Ford family, these guys are like mini Trumps. They're like, but in a way, they might be better than the Trumps in certain ways because
I hope so.
Doug Ford was like a hash dealer.
He was.
Hash dealer.
Woo-hoo. Good for
Very
him.
well known.
Mm-hmm.
Justin
Man
Trudeau
behind the
was hot
cause.
smoking snowboard teacher.
We need some Doug Ford hash at Cannabis Culture.
That'll probably be the next LP
Peace Pod
celebrity
TV.
endorsed brand right there.
Yeah, Doug Ford hash.
Yeah.
Smooth blend. So Doug Ford is now the premier-elect of the province of Ontario, our gigantor province that has a gigantor licensing scheme for all its liquor stores, total government monopoly on liquor. So good old Doug, he actually has vowed to break up some of that liquor monopoly and allow Neil Magnuson to come up here and sit in the chair, as well as allow corner stores to sell liquor. Doug Ford wants more corner stores selling liquor. And so that's kind of a cool thing. That's good. I want more corner stores selling liquor too, because in Ontario, it's just the LCBO that's allowed. And the government there is the Ontario government is the third largest distributor of alcohol in the world. That's a big monopoly and a big gang. And so we got to break that up. And hopefully Doug will do the same thing with marijuana. He did, before he got roped up in his campaign, pledge to have privatized marijuana stores, but then that was overturned within 24 hours.
Now we've reached out to Mr. Ford's office for an interview, and I think we're actually going to get one. So look
Cool.
for it in probably the August or September issue of High Canada magazine. He's got some things to say.
Great. That would be awesome. I think he actually has had some communication with Jodie as well. And he wanted Jodie to come to Ford Fest.
Yeah.
And I think she went.
That'd be cool.
I can't, maybe she did, and I can't remember.
That went.
I'm not sure if she did or not, but
Yeah.
it's Doug Ford. I'm not a huge fan on any other level besides his wanting to break up those monopolies. Most of the stuff that he wants to do is pretty conservative for my taste, at least in the social and other realm. But who knows? I don't want to write the guy off. Maybe he'll do the right thing.
He is elect now. I know people were tired of the win. They were very, very tired of win. So.
Oh yeah, he's elect.
Change is in the air.
And if I was there, I think I probably would have voted for him, because what the alternative was Kathleen Wynne. I'd rather jump off the roof. And also the NDP, they wanted a total government monopoly as well. They're like, nope, we're the only people who know how to run this correctly. Like that CBC comedy sketch. Did you guys see that?
Yeah.
That was hilarious. Oh, I love that.
Shout out to This Hour Has 22 Minutes for doing some spot-on social commentary over the last year or so.
They've done some good weed skits. Especially, I don't know if you saw the one where they had a cop go up to the car and they were hotboxing it. And they're trying to see if she's high or not. And they're kind of poking fun in a way, Canadians do have good humor, but it is bringing awareness to what is kind of happening out there, to kind of in a funny way, so people can try to laugh about it, but it's not really laughable when people are still being incriminated by it.
Right.
So it'd be interesting to see, because I know
it's either laugh or cry.
Yeah, you can either laugh or you cry, and it's a good day or a bad day, but it's been going on for so long. And to see even what Doug Ford is going to have to say in such a small amount of period, it isn't too long. It is, maybe 12 weeks away. But if he has so many other things on his plate, how is he going to juggle this, especially for Ontario?
Right.
Having one of the largest populations, how are we going to basically legalize it?
Well, in Ontario, yeah, man. I mean, everybody's going to have to go and buy it from a government store, the Ontario Cannabis Store. The OCS, and they have this really drab looking logo. Did you guys see that logo?
Yeah.
They
I wish
spent
I got commissioned for
$700,000 or something on it.
I would have done it for a third the cost.
Yeah.
Just saying, just no problem. I would have taken 6 to 8 weeks and consulted with at least 12 people to make sure I was on point.
Totally.
Year free,
I would have done it for an ounce. As long as it wasn't that LP shit.
Yeah, because friends don't let friends use LP weed, right? Not until things change.
See, I think I think things are they're going to change soon, because
I think they will
there's
too.
going to be good LCs. They're not LPs anymore, they're LCs. And I think that there'll probably be pretty decent ones out there. Because,
I hope so, but as it stands right now, and putting money into that system is going to be used to criminalize all the good suppliers that have got us to this point. So I'm sure not in favor of giving them any money.
But when they open it up to everybody, that means somebody's going to get it, right? If they don't, they're stupid, right?
We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Well, listen, thanks for having High Canada on. I always love stopping in when we're in town for conferences or shows or whatever we're in town for. I always appreciate it.
Good to have you, brother.
Great magazine.
Thank you very much. It's a labor of love by a whole lot of people every month come together across the country to put High Canada out. So shout outs to everybody out there who help put High Canada out there every month. So
especially to our Saskatoon.
Oh yeah, especially shout outs to our Saskatoon team. We had the luxury of flying to Vancouver. They drove to Saskatoon. So
I've done that a few times.
I believe
the Prairie Harvest Cup's coming up again this year. I'll be driving there again.
Yeah, they're stopping at the Unity Cup, I believe. That's on this weekend in Winnipeg. So if you're in the know and on Instagram, check it out. Nothing like a good Prairie Cannabis Cup to get the blood flowing.
Yeah, there you go.
The Friendly Cup.
Once again, thanks for having us on.
Yeah,
thanks for coming, guys. Big time. Really appreciate it. Hi, Canada. You got to check it out. What's the web address there?
So it's all of our issues are available for free digital download off our website, www.highcanada.net.
There you
very
go.
much.
HighCanada.net is the place to do the downloading. And Neil doesn't want any more of the weed. But you can't. The thing is, you can't download these awesome 3D glasses. Yeah. Well, when you go to the movie theater these days, they give you some glasses, but I don't know if it'll work the same as these ones. These are the old school comic book style, and old school movie theater when you drive in.
Strain print?
Strain print.
Is that in your magazine?
Yeah, the 3D issue too.
Cool.
Very cool. There you go, Neil. Yeah. Bye, guys. Thanks a lot. Yeah, for sure. Appreciate you coming on the show. Sorry, Neil. Okay, let's play this video now. This is the first of the few videos I want to play about how the mainstream media is covering the legalization of cannabis in Canada. There's, again, it's quite a cool thing that Canada gets to say they're the second country in the world to legalize cannabis, and we're doing our thing.
It looks good, as far as the optics around the world go. They just don't understand the actual continued criminalization of a lot of weed stuff.
Right.
Legal weed and illegal weed is not what they're telling people.
Exactly. Yeah. So, we don't want to be complete party poopers. There's a lot of great things, and the idea that you can grow weed at home.
We're a long way from where we were.
Yeah.
We've come this far, and this is what they give us based on what we won.
Yeah.
And that's not enough yet, so we're not done fighting.
But still, it's a total cop-out. It's a total denial of everything.
Excuse the pun.
Yeah, exactly. It's a total betrayal of all the stuff that we've been really trying to work for.
Continued wasting of tax dollars, criminalization of good people, calling a crime that which is not a crime. All that stuff is still going to go on.
Yeah,
here.
Not allowing to associate cannabis with all the great things in life and just ridiculous things. So we still need to free this plant the right way, the proper way, not just free for big corporations to do stuff with it, or even small corporations.
Well, and actually, this legalization for adult use or recreational or non-medicinal cannabis, it's a super bad blow to the medical users. This is the darkest day for med users in the last 25 years. They're going to lose access to many of the storefronts that have the products that they need right now, and they're going to be forced to using this non-medical model, which doesn't work for them in any way. So we're going to challenge that for sure. Jerry Martin's got a constitutional challenge coming up. He was the fellow that ran the dispensary in Whitewood, Saskatchewan that got closed down, and they're still coming after him. And it's very important because this recreational model does not allow for any face-to-face interaction. The bud tenders at these dispensaries can't be telling anybody about the medical benefits of cannabis or different strains or anything like that. You can't look at your cannabis. You can't smell it. They won't have edibles and concentrates. The whole system is very discriminatory.
We just do it
still.
anyways.
Yeah, absolutely. This is where the new battle is dispensaries that will stay open and defy these laws to provide access to the medical patients. So it's very much needed for sure. Also part of Jerry's constitutional challenge is the mail order system for med users, that if they're not capable of growing for themselves or getting a DG, that they have to use the mail order system. And that doesn't work because if people don't have an address or a bank account or a credit card, or they're illiterate, or they don't have a computer, they can't access it. There's delays in accessing your medicine. You can get opioids an hour after seeing your doctor, but you have to register with an LP if you get your, and all this other stuff. And it's just, it's a horrible system for med users, and this new recreational model is not helping them at all. So that's why we're going back to court on that, and that's Jerry Martin's constitutional challenge.
And we might have to look for those loopholes about how to really get medical people. The problem right now is that they're trying to do a crackdown on the medical side of it. They don't want those things to be legal. They want to try to take some of that stuff away.
Yeah.
There's even talk that they might try to rescind or take back Allard, things like that, right?
Because they don't want people, horrible. That's horrible. So we got to protect our med users.
We really do. We need to really focus on the medical side of things and make sure those people, we don't lose those gains that we won, because those were big gains.
I mean, it's horrible for the rec users too, that they have to go into a place that sells cannabis and they can't even look at it or smell it and all of that stuff. I mean, this is just not what we were after. And the continued wasting of our tax dollars, they obviously didn't want to disappoint the gangs. They didn't want to disappoint the alcohol producers and the pharmaceutical producers. They didn't want to disappoint the cops and the people that run cages and the courts. All those people get to be making a whole bunch of money still in this so-called legalization. And that's a lot of what we were fighting against, was the wasting of our tax dollars for sure.
Right. Yeah. Well, let's watch another one of these videos here. So do we watch this? We haven't watched it yet.
Ready?
I haven't even watched one of these things. Here we go.
Another landmark day for cannabis in Canada. The bill to make it legal received royal assent.
But so many questions remain, like where will it be sold? Ontario's incoming premier says government-run LCBO stores are the best place to start.
CTV's Megan Shaw joins us live with the latest on this. Megan.
Patricia, we heard a change of tone today from Premier-designate Doug Ford, who previously talked about privatization, but today said marijuana will still be distributed by the LCBO.
It's not legal yet, but finding weed in Ottawa isn't hard.
That's where I'm going right now.
Patrick Renault picks up his pot at this unlicensed dispensary on Montreal Road.
The Governor-General thanks her loyal subjects, accepts their benevolence, and assents to this bill.
Now that cannabis is officially law, receiving royal assent today, recreational marijuana will be legal by October 17th. Spots like these expected to be shut down. The BC government says in Ontario, the plan is still to sell weed out of LCBOs.
We're going to make a decision after we talk to caucus, but I also said we'd keep it in the LCBOs because they have the structure already put together.
Work has been ongoing to set up those stores, according to the president of the Ontario Public Service Employees Union, including staff hires and selection of store locations.
Part of the things I have to do is sit and talk to a municipality. Could we locate it here? Because the municipalities have a say. And they have run into some, no, not there, not there, not there, not there. So it's not as easy as people think to locate a store.
Renault says if pot is only available in government-run facilities, he'll buy legally.
When it's legal, at least you know what you're getting, and no one's ripping you off or anything. It's a little more pricey, but
others who don't smoke say it still doesn't interest them.
Just not for me.
Researchers at the Ottawa Heart Institute admit there's not a ton of information available about the use of marijuana because up until this point it's been illegal. But they do know that it comes with health implications, and doctors here say if you don't already smoke pot, don't start.
I think there are certain things that we can say with almost certainty. If you're going to be a marijuana user, don't smoke it. It does not make sense to put products of combustion of anything into your lungs.
Dr. Andrew Pipe says smoking up can affect the heart.
Personal risks may vary between and among individuals.
Other risks are still unknown, says Pipe. Premier-designate Doug Ford says he wants to tread carefully going forward.
We've never went down this road before. My priority is to make sure we protect the children. That's a #1 priority. We're going to sit down with our caucus and consult with their caucus and consult with stakeholders and municipal leaders right across this province.
But did not rule out growing at home or privatizing the sale of weed in the future.
Now the province has until October to get a few stores up and running, aiming for 40 by the end of the year. Graham.
All right, CTV's Megan Shaw reporting live for us tonight. Thanks.
Going down this road.
Oh, man.
Well.
More stigmatization of our culture.
Did you see
compliments
that?
Of your government.
Did you see that little bit in there about will be closed down, and they showed a picture of Cannabis Culture?
Yeah.
Yep. I think we're on the chopping block too. But we're going to do what we can to try to have a legal cannabis store under their new guidelines and everything. But again, if they want us to sell just crappy LP stuff and there's no better alternatives, then it doesn't make sense. So if they don't, we're going to have to start our own LPs. Like everybody out there should start their own LCs so that Cannabis Culture will have something to sell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you're using LCs right now, licensed by you.
Like, that's true. Yeah, I don't think they'll allow that. You have to. The government has to give it a seal of approval. Unfortunately.
Fuck the government. Get out of my garden. They have no business in my garden. No business in my grow room. There's no business regulating cannabis the way that they are. These regulations are ridiculous. It's like it's addictive plutonium or something.
And then the other thing is, there's not going to be any product. So there's going to be all these dispensaries that want to open, and there's going to be not enough weed for them. Not even close.
Well, I hope that's not true. I hope they have all the weed left that they bring in. They don't sell any of it. That's what I'd like to see.
Well, no, I think they're going to sell all of it. They're going to be very popular. All the weed stores are going to be popular, whether the government or not. But there's not going to be enough supply for any of them.
Probably not.
That's why in Ontario they're only starting with 40 of them.
Maybe that's why they're coming up with all these ridiculous regulations and stuff is because they want us to boycott them because they know they can't supply everybody if everybody comes there. They're going to have plenty of people to sell to, and they don't want everybody because then there'd be this huge shortage thing. So maybe they're looking for a boycott to happen against, for a lot of the people.
I don't know.
I mean, I'm really appalled that they're going to do what they're going to do, and I don't think anybody should give them any of their money to come after the people that have been distributing to this point. I mean, this is horrible. Sure, as a human being, you can go and get weed, or you can grow weed, and you can be legal in this environment. But all of these people that have been supplying the cannabis market to this date are still going to be criminals, and increased penalties against them, increased money for enforcement against them. This is just outrageous.
Yep. So let's play another one of these. Video number 2 on the list. I can't remember what the title was. It was... concerns, excitement over pot legalization.
Yeah, that doctor, by the way, was just outrageous there.
Dr. Pipe.
Dr. Pipe, yeah. Dr. Pipe.
I think it was just Pipe.
Don't smoke weed, people, because,
It was a doctor.
we got hundreds and thousands of people in hospital rooms because they smoked weed, so don't smoke weed, people. I mean, there's no victims of what... This doctor that's on there saying, I recommend that, if you're even going to use weed, don't smoke it because it just isn't good to have any combustible material go into your lungs.
Yeah, that's real scientific, buddy.
Yeah, really scientific. When we got millions and millions of Canadians that are using billions of doses of cannabis every day, and there's no hospital wards filled with people with brown lung or cancer or anything. In fact, this doctor is so outrageous in his comments because cannabis, even in smoke, provides many health benefits.
Yes.
And you don't hear them say anything about that. You go to the Health Canada website, and it's full of all these potential harms and public safety risks and all the rest of that. Where's all the information on the fact it's a supplement
it's Dr.
to your
It is
endocannabinoid
Dr.
system?
Pipe.
It helps people with anxiety and stress and sleeping and pain and all the rest of it. There's no mention of that there.
It should be Mr.
It's still,
Pipe.
Stigmatization by your government of a huge culture of people that's causing great harm. They're criminals. I hate what they're doing.
Bloody criminals.
Bloody criminals. We need to let all...
Impact on the culture of cannabis. It is a culture that many have already been actively engaged in, evident by the number of businesses that have sprung up, even locally. Live now to CTV's Sean Greck. Sean, you were at 2 of those businesses today. What did people there have to say?
I was, Tony, and these are places that have been working hard to grow and be seen as more legitimate. And even though they're concerned about some of the fine details, they say this law is a major step forward for their industry. The legalization of recreational marijuana has been a long time coming.
October 17th sounds like it's going to be the new 420.
It's good news for businesses like Happy Days, this water pipe and vaporizer store in Barrie, an establishment that's worked hard to erase stigmas and serve a culture that's been growing for years.
With our government moving forward to regulate that, I really think that it's in line with where the culture is already standing.
But Switzer is still concerned about the limitations his industry may face, especially when it comes to marketing their product.
We look at a lot of our inventory and see that things are compliant with the new legislation and change probably the lineup of some of our inventory. And then there are definitely some people that are in our industry that are going to have to rebrand entirely.
Another business in downtown Barrie is Tweed, already a licensed medical cannabis producer and applauding the changes on the horizon.
Operations will stay the same, particularly to this location here in Barrie. We will continue to serve medical patients and provide services for them as well.
And they've been busy preparing to expand their facilities across the country.
Getting our growing capacity up to, I would say, up to scale, and we have increased from 0.5 million square feet to 5.5 million square feet.
And with that October 17th legalization date now less than 4 months away, these businesses plan to do more research about the new law to make sure they're in line with all of the regulations and in a position to grow. Reporting live, I'm Sean Greck. Tony, back to you.
We're back. Back on the air. I'm still watching the show over here. Wow, I didn't actually know Tweed had in-person stores. I didn't know they were allowed to do that. I guess they are.
If they aren't, they sure will be soon. I'm pretty sure.
Well, they just showed one on the whole thing there. People shit Tweed. Yeah, I'm not a big Tweed fan neither. I saw they had Strain Hunters shirts, and they had Franco's face on a Tweed shirt with a Tweed logo on it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Franco, who passed away, one of the strain hunters. I don't know. I guess it's a memorial shirt. Somebody said they're giving a bit of the profit away to I guess maybe his family or something. So that's good. I don't know.
Well, they need to do good things.
Yeah.
Licensed producers, they should be a bit concerned about how they're viewed, and they should be putting a lot of effort into changing the image of what we think LPs are all about, and LCs are all about.
Right, exactly. All right, so I guess let's do another video here while we're just hot on the trail of these videos. This one's called Who Wins, Who Loses from later, what does it say? Later than expected marijuana legalization date.
Most people are going to get arrested before that lose.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, who wins, who loses?
In 3
Well,
months,
we're going to find that out.
29,000 people last year arrested. 3 months is a quarter of a year, so a quarter of 29,000 people, you know, what, 8,000 people or 7,000 people should be expected to get arrested in the next 3 months here.
I guess we'll find out.
Recreational
when we watch this
marijuana
video.
will be legal in Canada on October 17th. The date follows the Senate's passing of the pot bill late yesterday afternoon. Nadia Stewart joins us now live from Vancouver. And Nadia, municipalities have a lot of work to do over the next few weeks to get ready.
They do, Sophie, but not just them. The province also has some adapting to do as well. It is the announcement many in BC have been waiting for.
Parliament has now passed Bill C-45, which will legalize and strictly regulate access to cannabis.
Now comes the task of ensuring safety amidst the long-awaited legalization of cannabis. The province will have 4 months to align itself with the official federal rules on pot. BC's public safety minister says they'll be ready, but there's lots of work to be done.
And so the provincial legislation anticipated a number of things, but there's a number of other areas where we actually had to wait for the final version from the federal government. And this is something not just faced by British Columbia, but all provinces across the country.
One key area still needing clarity, the concerns around impaired driving. Farnsworth says officers here have been preparing, but questions remain. And then there's the municipal level. Vancouver created its own rules to deal with the influx of pot shops operating in a legal gray zone. The city says it will adapt to whatever the province and feds require, though there are more questions than answers there too.
We've had to create our own system with dispensaries here to ensure that we had a system that was functional on the ground in Vancouver.
I certainly will be asking questions about the fines that we have been giving. I'm going to be asking if we have the resources within the Vancouver Police Department and our city staff to go through and close down the marijuana dispensaries that are open outside of the amendment to the zoning bylaw that do not have licenses.
All right, Nadia, does this mean we're going to see another influx of dispensaries on October 17th?
Mike Farnsworth says no, Sophie, but there will be a gradual ramping up. He says inevitably there will be kinks as they're working through this new process, so they'll have to just work through all the kinks, work through all the changes, and get this follow the rules, I should say, as closely as possible, whatever it is that the federal government lays out. Back to you.
October 17th is coming quickly. Nadia, thank you.
All right.
There we are.
So I didn't actually get to hear that because we had an audio
It can't be
issue.
good if it's coming from Diginova. It's not good.
No, I don't.
She hates weed.
I'm sure it's not good, but I lost my monitor. And now, are you sure it's plugged in? It doesn't seem to be working. Maybe I gotta
turn it back on.
Oh, it's acting all crazy.
Are you lost without your monitor?
This computer's crazy. Psh, 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 psh. We'll run another video.
You know, the good news is that
technology.
there's reports on cannabis all over the news and talk radio, every day for the last while, and no end in sight to that. So it's big news, and I think that John's right. I mean, it's about education. We've got to just keep pounding away at the truth here, and let the media in on why we're concerned and what the concerns are, and I think we can get this worked out. If they get to stay the way that it is with the status quo, they are going to roll us over. They're going to steamroll us right out of the industry. They're going to take it right over, and they're going to provide corporate weed to people that can't be trusted. And continue the stigmatization and the reefer madness. Same with all the talk about youth and the harms to youth. There's no poster child for my kid was messed up by getting into my edibles or using marijuana or anything like that. The victimization by cannabis of people is almost minimal, or there's very, very, very little of it. But our culture is being victimized by these ridiculous regulations and the stigma attached to them.
Totally.
And kids, you know, if you tell them they can't have it, if you tell them it's dangerous, well, that's what they're going to be concerned about getting, and that's what they're going to do. They will do that. We shouldn't tell them it's dangerous. We should tell them it's a supplement to their own body's, you know, endocannabinoid system. It's a healthy thing to do. You know, less will do it if we tell them that, but we don't want less to do it necessarily anyway. It's better than alcohol. It's good for people. It provides spiritual awakening. It gives you the health benefits of boosting your endocannabinoid or your
That's
immune
vitality. You're not allowed to say that, Neil.
Not
it's
allowed
illegal.
to say it provides vitality.
Illegal.
No, I mean, we're going to be walking around not smiling for fear that the cops are going to think we've been using cannabis in public and arrest us or something. It's just so stupid.
Yeah. Well,
The
we'll see how the
backwards
enforcement
world
goes. You know.
Even with legalization, things are still upside down.
Why put all this stuff on the books if they're not going to use it? I'm hoping they don't. But again, why should they have the right to do any of that stuff to us?
They shouldn't.
No.
The role of public servants in a free country should not allow them the ability to do what they're doing here. Everything they do should be science-based, and anything they do should not harm people. And they're harming people right, left, and center. You know, still with this.
Yeah.
I mean,
Entrepreneurs will have to learn different rules in each BC city. And when it comes to the rule breakers, CTV's Penny Daflos tells us there will only be one agency weeding them out.
It looks like a bath bomb.
At first, the Bloomery looks like a high-end boutique, but each product contains cannabis, and the back is full of artisanal weed.
Whether they're getting their cannabis from a regulated or unregulated shop or source, they are consuming cannabis today.
Jeremy Jacob has been quietly advocating on behalf of the Association of Medical Dispensaries in municipalities throughout BC, encouraging the idea of street front access, which is in the hands of local government.
There are municipalities that have, when I've reached out to them, have told me that while they're in this regulatory and decision-making phase about their bylaws, they don't want to cloud that process with input from stakeholders. But really, this is the time when the stakeholders should be engaged.
Vancouver will continue retail sales, with the District of North Vancouver and Port Moody expected to allow recreational pot shops with similar restrictions. Coquitlam, Poco, the City of North Vancouver, Langley Township, and Pitt Meadows are waiting on more details for the province. Mission, Abbotsford, and Richmond are likely to ban all stores. CTV News has now learned it won't be bylaw officers or police going after rule breakers.
There will be an enforcement unit based in the Ministry of the Solicitor General, whose job it will be is to go after illegal retail outlets, to be able to confiscate their products, and they will get shut down.
The Dispensary Association is urging entrepreneurs to play by the rules.
It's clear now from the province that you will not be eligible for a provincial license unless you have municipal approval. So being on the wrong side of your municipality is not the way to establish a presence in this industry.
Penny Daflos, CTV News, Vancouver.
Before.
That guy's cool, though. The guy running the dispensary.
He's got something going on there in some municipality where he's supported.
Yeah, but he's not going to be able to have his packaging like that.
No.
And he's got a bunch of Miss Envy stuff on the shelves. He's got like a nice, cool little Miss Envy display. That's not going to be allowed.
Yeah, those shops that do,
no
convert into the
topicals.
legal system are going to have to change their whole way of doing business. And
Look at that Miss Envy thing back there. Yeah. All the Miss Envy botanical stuff. It's cool. It's got his weed in jars, looking really beautiful.
Now the viewers at home are flying blind. They can't see what you're pointing at.
Yeah, I know. That's true. We're watching it on a delayed monitor here. It's kind of funny.
Yeah, and that's the thing that I was saying about med users, that many of the products that they're used to being able to get at their local dispensary, at least here in Vancouver, they're not going to be able to get anymore. I mean, and the ones that are licensed by the city, they haven't had those types of products for a while.
Yeah.
But I was in the medicinal cannabis dispensary earlier today, and I see they've got drinks that are cannabis infused. They've got other infused products there and edibles for people. And I'm not sure, whether Dana's going to comply, or whether Cannabis Culture is going to comply, or whether Don's going to comply with weeds. And if not, then what will that mean? You're going to probably be getting
More
visits from this new provincial task force.
Oh yeah.
And there'll be fines.
The G-men.
Products seized. And
the
all that
ganja
kind of
men.
Stuff. Yeah.
G for ganja.
So yeah, this is the new battlefront for sure.
Yeah. No, these guys. Well, we'll see. I'm sure they're probably watching the show right now. Hi guys.
Yeah, please watch the show.
And I'd like to be legalized. I want to get us legalized. I want to follow the rules. So
no, you don't want to follow those rules. You want good rules.
Yeah. Make them so we don't have such horrible rules. We want to be able to at least smell the cannabis before you take it home.
I don't want it in a bag that's got a bunch of red warnings all over it.
Like maybe what we can do is have one that's open and you can let them smell that. You know,
I don't think they're going to be allowed to do that. You know,
that can't be right.
It's not.
But you can't
right.
smell the weed that you're going to take home with you. But you might be able to have one that's a sampler smell.
Maybe.
No, I guess
We'll see.
it's going to be about
I
enforcement.
imagine many places are going to at least try.
Are the G-men going to show up and be like, I heard you let people smell your cannabis?
Yes, we can't have people smelling your cannabis.
The rest.
Yes.
We're going,
I just hope the media, is all over it and exposing the ludicrous
right.
wastes that are happening as a result of
Elliot Stress.
Yeah, Elliot Stress. Could use some weed.
Yeah. And the G-men. Yeah, that's going to be, we should make a comic or a cartoon.
I mean, I feel like picketing outside of the...
And Farnworth can be the guy who's like
selling
the hat. He's like, I told you marijuana people you had to close down. You hear?
Yeah,
You're
well,
not
they've
doing
been
what you're
telling
told.
dispensaries for a long time they need to close down.
Yeah.
Many of them are still open despite fines and scare tactics.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to continue, especially the ones that have a long client list of medical patients.
If we have to
that
change
need it.
our dispensaries and there's good weed to sell that goes through the government system, I'm okay with selling government weed that is actually good. I mean, that would be good. I don't care if the government middlemans it. I mean, I don't like it, but if it's good pot, I will sell it. If it's shit weed, we're not going to sell it. So,
But even if it's good pot, they're going to put other people out of business and make them criminals with the money that's being spent on that. They're going to take some of the money they take from you and that they call tax money and put it into the pockets of law enforcement to go after the guy down the street that won't do it. So, I don't like the idea at all yet. There's a big fight yet to come. We'll see how that shakes down. But it is shaken down. Like this talk is happening all across Canada and around the world. I had my previous landlord tell me that they're talking about it in China. She says, in China, they're saying Canada's legalizing weed. And I sat her down and said, well, here's the real deal. And she goes, wow, if you hadn't have told me that, I'd have had no idea. They're just saying they're legalizing weed.
Right.
Yeah, that's
But we just need to
exactly
keep
what's going
telling
on.
people. Yeah, it's
And
not done
we won't
yet.
stop educating people about it until they get it right, that's for sure.
And the thing that we can't stop doing is lounges. And they're going to try to stop us probably. But that is something we will not stop doing. Like I said, you're going to have to drag me out of here.
I think you should keep doing what you're doing and cater to the med users so that you have those products that they need. And I think
How
that
can it
any
be illegal
dispensary that's catering to med users, they should have a lounge attached to their store by law. It should be mandatory.
We
that there
shouldn't
be a consumption lounge.
But we
attached
shouldn't
to these
have
places.
to cater just to med users. We should be allowed to.
Well, not just med users. I'm not saying
Right.
get a doctor on board or anything like that.
Right.
Hell, man, all use is medical.
I'm not even against that,
That's
actually.
the next thing that needs to be educated out there is all use is medical. You can't take cannabis, which supplements your endocannabinoid system, ingest it, and have it not supplement your endocannabinoid system. You're going to get medical benefits out of that no matter what. And when people say they're using it because it makes them feel good, when it helps them with their stress, and even rec users that are using it for those reasons, rec users use weed because, hey, they need to chill. They're feeling uptight. I need to smoke a joint. That's not rec. That's med. Everything's med.
Unhappy meals from the McWeed companies.
Yeah. So all use is medical, and the people that really have serious medical needs, they need to continue to have access provided to them, and dispensaries need to be doing that. So we're still standing up to the man to protect patients is what's going to have to keep happening.
Yeah.
And I'll be there to defend those dispensaries that do that. I'll be there with signs and friends.
Freddie said Health Canada says marijuana is not safe.
Health Canada's not safe. Cannabis is safer than Health Canada by a long shot.
Health Canada's the worst, man. This is terrible.
Well, it was Judge Francis Young, I think 1989. The DEA was trying to prove cannabis had no medicinal value, and that judge, after hearing all the evidence, stated that cannabis is probably the safest therapeutically active compound found in nature.
Yep.
So,
So
regulate
here's a video
accordingly.
about it.
Yeah, regulate
Dun,
accordingly.
dun, dun. And what is this video?
Now passed Bill C-45, which will legalize and strictly regulate access to cannabis. We will soon have a new system in place, one that keeps cannabis out of the hands of our kids and keeps profits away from organized crime. Today, I'm also pleased to announce that the new recreational cannabis regime will officially come into force on October 17th of this year. We heard from provinces and territories who told us they needed more time to transition to this new framework. So our government will continue to work in full partnership with them to ensure the smooth and orderly implementation of this new law across Canada.
Well, again, this falls under the purview of my colleague, the Minister of Public Safety. The Minister and I have had conversations about this. Our focus has been and is the coming into force of the Cannabis Act and ensuring that all the regulations around the legalization of cannabis are in place. At that time, we will, or he will, have consideration around the question that you asked. We've thought about it, but we are focused right now on the Cannabis Act.
Yeah, but is the door open to it? You mean you're saying we're having conversation? We'll see once the bill is passed. What do you say to people who have a minor criminal record? Is there a possibility that they'll get a pardon, or are they just going to remain criminals while everyone else is allowed to do it?
And I think it's already been stated. As has already been stated, the law remains in effect until it's repealed and replaced through Bill C-46. And quite frankly, any discussion of those records can't take place until that process is complete. And so we're working hard for doing the important work of repealing the existing legislation, replacing it with a comprehensive system of regulatory control that will be far more effective in protecting our communities and our kids. And it will then be possible for the government to turn its mind to the issue of the existing records or any disparity that exists thereof.
Is the government open to it?
Well, again, I believe that's premature. We have a responsibility to uphold the existing law, and we are doing that. This is a nation based on the rule of law, and that law is in effect, and we'll continue to uphold it until it is repealed and replaced.
One last question, please. One last
education
question.
Campaigns.
Wow. Bill Blair. You can't even talk about it. It's not allowed. No one's even allowed to think about it until it's done.
When do you think the last time he had a drink was?
Probably right before that interview. Or
yeah,
while it was happening.
The booze flows on Parliament Hill, I'll tell you.
I don't know. We can't. Who knows? We can't.
We
say
do know
like
that.
We know the booze flows on Parliament Hill.
They have
but
booze catered events.
I don't know if Bill
that
Blair's a
start at
drinker.
noon every day at Parliament Hill.
He might not be a drinker, though.
He might not.
No.
But look at that face.
But well. Yeah, the wine bill. Yeah, exactly. Craft beer.
Alcohol
He likes
flows
craft
on
beer.
Parliament Hill, I'll tell you. It's
No.
hard for an MP not to become an alcoholic. They go to
But
all these events. They
this
need to
idea-
socialize, and there's booze at all of them, and it starts.
But the
early in
idea,
day.
the thing that gets me is the idea that we can't talk about it. It can't be discussed.
Oh my God.
There's nothing, but we're not even as government officials allowed to, we're not allowed to even look anywhere near it. We're not even like, don't show me the paperwork. No.
Well, we've
Not
known
till
for
it's done.
years that in the Justice Minister's Department and in the PMO, they're not allowed to talk about prohibition. They haven't been for years. We've had insiders tell us that. They do not discuss whether prohibition is a valid law or not within the Justice Minister.
Well, it sounds like if that's the language they're using, maybe they're thinking of transitioning into amnesty and things like that. Like, I only have hope for the future that these guys, like, eventually get there. You know
Well, they
what I
have
mean?
to now.
Right.
It's based on what Blair said.
people keep
and
asking
Ray
about it,
Bolt
right?
said and what Trudeau said.
Yeah.
Once these laws have been changed, then they can visit the amnesty. And I'm sure they're going to. They basically have to.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I've heard all kinds of commentators on other media stations talking about it. Jodie's pounding on it, and that's getting reported in a lot of these major media places. They have to. I mean, like that reporter
We'll
asked
see.
there too. I mean, how is it right for people to run around with a criminal record for something that other people are now allowed to do without it being a crime?
Exactly. No, that's unbelievable. Wow, people are still in jail for cannabis
It's so
crimes.
hypocritical for so long. It never was a crime. That's the thing people need to get. It never was a crime. A crime is when you, in your mind, understand that your action is about to cause harm and you still do it. You've got that mens rea of understanding it's going to cause damage, and the actus rea of doing that without mens rea and actus rea. It's not a crime. So
But
how is it ever a crime
no,
to have
no,
possession of some
but
flowers?
no,
It
that's
never
not
was a
true.
crime.
Ignorance of the law isn't an excuse.
No,
If you're like, I
the
didn't know
law
I was
is
breaking
not-
the law.
The rule.
I didn't know I was causing a crime by,
A crime
stealing
has
that
to have damage.
Acura.
By common law. I grant you that here in Canada, we abandoned common law in the late 80s when the Charter came in because the Charter would not be consistent, or at least the laws on the books would not be consistent with common law, and it wasn't. There was a great
Well, for
incongruency
instance, there was a girl I just saw on my Apple News thing. There's a girl at the border here going jogging in White Rock, and
didn't realize.
she was just jogging, and I guess jogged down the wrong path. And all of a sudden, she was in the United States. She was still just jogging and got accosted by border security, who said they saw her on a camera, and they They detained her for 2 weeks.
Wow.
2 weeks.
Wow.
And she's just like this young girl.
Out for a
She's got
jog.
dark skin. I don't know where I can't remember now where exactly she was from, but these border guards, I'm sure it's all the racist shit that's going on down there. And they took, for 2 weeks, they threw it, and she's like a young girl, and she's like a student here in Canada, and she didn't know she was in the United States because she just was going for a run, and there's no sign that says it anywhere.
And there again, is that really a crime? Did she actually have a victim? Did she actually know she was going to hurt somebody and still did it?
The law doesn't care if she knows or not. They
I
just
know,
do it.
because the law is an ass and it's in violation of our natural rights. It has been for a long time.
The law
That's
is
why
an
we're
ass.
on this campaign that we're on.
It's true.
The law is an ass. The law is designed not to protect individual sovereign beings like us. It's designed to protect government and corporate organizations in large part.
Yeah.
Some of the laws are about protecting individuals, but these ones aren't.
How many videos we got left? That we did them all? We're done all the vids. We're done all the vids,
Yeah, I
guys.
think
We
this is
finished.
the problem is that people think that just because the government writes it down and slides it under glass and signs off on it, that's a real law and you have to obey it or you're a criminal. And it's true, they've got the guns in the cages and they're going to enforce that. But in reality, based on common law principles, which any law of today should be based in common law principles, we spent hundreds of years putting these principles together to try to have some form of justice and a sense of fairness. And,
Yes.
You know, I mean, you're supposed to have the older matriarch with the blindfold holding the set of scales that symbolizes justice.
Right.
And, you know, she's blindfolded to who you are when you come before that court. And if they determine that you actually did damage and you meant to do that, then you
don't have any
get
more
a penalty.
dabs.
And how much damage you did is on the one side of the set of scales, and then the other side to balance that. You got possession of some flowers you thought was going to help make you feel better. You didn't intend on harming nobody, and you did
Could
it.
you go see if there's a couple dabs out there for us?
So,
just go ask them for.
yeah,
come,
it's,
tell them to comp it for. Oh, you have
It's been a
some?
travesty for a long
Either
time,
way,
that's what I'm saying.
whatever works. We just got to do a dab on air.
Jared needs a
Thomas. Thomas is right in the chat. We need to dab.
Hi, Thomas. Good to see you, Thomas. Had a chat
Oh, you
with
got a
him
dab
yesterday.
pen, do you?
He's
What
trying
kind
to
of
do
pen
some
is this
good work
one?
out there.
I always like looking at these. West Coast Smoke Co. strain, Northern Lights flavor chocolate. WCSmoke.ca. Let's check out. Oh, that's not
Who's
the
that
can.
from?
I got it from last night from them.
Oh, I thought it was one of your
You can't
things. I was
see
going to
it.
give you a plug.
Where I've been smoking it. It's really nice.
I gotta get it out of this thing here. I don't have
Uh-huh.
nails. I can't get it out of there. Oh, nice.
I got nails.
What is this here? The clear sauce from Top Drawer Canna. THC distillate
Is that available
plus
here?
shatter plus terpenes. Oh, damn. Wow, that looks really nice. Oh, it smells nice. I love that sugar wax. It smells clean. Oh, the vape pen here.
Beautiful.
All these products that we're smoking, illegal still.
Yeah, illegal. Sitting right beside a criminal right now.
After October
I'm a
13th,
trafficker over there.
these will still be,
Yeah.
vape pens are still going to be
I
illegal,
handed
right?
you the vape pen. I guess I'm a trafficker too.
So Neil, you want to go first?
No.
That's a yes.
I reached my limit before I sat down in front of the microphone. So.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
You were dabbing over there?
Well, I wasn't dabbing. I don't dab much. I reached my limit through just,
We need
you
a
know,
dab
more
tool,
simple
too.
means.
Damn.
Dab tool. I saw one.
Dab tool.
Yeah.
Nice.
Now we have two.
Oh, now we got two. Both are clean?
I'm not much of a dabber. You know, it really, it's a potent way to smoke. I think it's an awesome way for
Neither
people
are
to get, you know,
clean. This
pure
one's close.
potent cannabinoids into their system without any of that waste and
This
plant
is some
matter and
nice stuff.
mixed in
Here,
there.
let's show this off because it's sugary and beautiful.
This is cutting edge medicinal product here is what it is.
Yeah.
Still unable
It's like
to really cause much harm
sparkly,
other than a
sugary.
green out.
I love that when it's in that. I don't know. It's butterized, but it's like sugarized. It's crystallized. So there's little crystals. You
I
sure,
like,
Neil?
I like the color, but I think, you know, gold is such a fantastic
Sure
color.
you don't want to try that?
Yeah, I'm sure I can't try that right now.
Look at it sparkle. When you turn it, I really wanted to get that dab cam a little closer here because it just looks cool. Here. Yoink. keep knocking these bottles over. All right, here we go. It's so sparkly.
Back up a little bit.
Let's see. It won't do it. Bong bong.
There you go. Wow, eh?
It's so sparkly.
Sparkly, gold,
sugary.
clear, beautiful stuff. It looks like honey. You know, honey is amazingly nutritious for people, and that stuff is amazingly medicinal for people.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
I'm about to get medicated.
Back in the day when I was first promoting butter for Butter King, back in 2006, 7, and 8 and stuff like that, we went across Canada, brought that for people to sample across Canada. You wouldn't even be able to see the amount that I would put on the end of an actual pin that I would then give somebody a dab of. And they'd be from some part of rural Canada, and they'd be like, you know, paying $75 for an eighth of ditchweed and having to smoke the whole thing to get any buzz at all. And I was there from Vancouver, and I'd say, all right, you want to try some cannabis here? And they'd look at it and go, that's cannabis? I go, yeah, that's the sparkly stuff that's on cannabis without the other stuff. And then, you know, they couldn't even see it on the end of a pin. And they'd be like, come on, give me a break. That's not going to do nothing. And I'd be like, no, you should probably sit down. And then, you know, give them the little dab. Well, this stuff expands when it gets heated up incredibly. So then their lungs would fill with this tiny little thing they couldn't even see. They'd blow out a huge cloud of smoke. They'd be like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And, you know, never experienced anything like that. So many people that I dabbed in those trips across Canada were, you know, med users with serious shakes or mobility issues and things like that. And you'd watch those shakes just stop right in their tracks moments after taking the dab. I'd watch them get up from their wheelchairs and say, look, I can stand. I don't know why I can stand, but I feel like I can stand. And it's just amazing medical, you know, proficiency in this stuff, or effectiveness in this stuff, really, for sure.
That was really good.
Yeah. You look like it worked.
Yeah.
Smiling, eyes a little squinty, you look relaxed. Worked.
I think it did.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And nowadays people are taking what you just took, which is a huge glob on the end of there.
Yeah.
And there's still no deaths from cannabis overdose, and, you know, no serious complications. No. Med users can take that and more time after time, and it helps them. It's not hurting them. So that should, you know, put an end to the reefer madness, you would hope.
You'd think so, but...
And the bullshit about, you know, teenagers damaging their brain, if that was true, I mean, think about it. We'd have millions of adult Canadians running around with brain damage, costing the medical system huge. And yet that's not the case at all. In fact, my friends and colleagues that have used copious amounts of cannabis since early in their youth are some of the most high-functioning, smart people that I know. So,
yes,
these myths are soon to be dispelled, I would think, and we will.
There's some pretty hardcore stoners out there who do some, you know, hilarious things sometimes, but
sure, cannabis can
you just gotta like know when your limit's there.
You know, cannabis does cause people sometimes to act a little bit impulsively, but there's an element of caution that comes with that. People are not stupefied or dumbfounded or having their brain cells numbed by the juice off of poison berries, which they sell at thousands of different outlets all over this city.
I'd say I'm a little bit, like...
impaired?
Maybe.
Mm-hmm. Well, you're into pretty high dosages.
I guess that's what you'd call it.
Been smoking for the last 3 hours here, pretty high dosages.
Yeah.
And cannabis can impair
it's harder to
people who are outside of their normal
think of
dose
what I want
range,
to say.
or novice users, and even
Not really, though. I mean, like, honestly, maybe that happens for a couple seconds when you're down on oxygen or something, but really you just snap right back and your brain is right there. You're not, I don't know.
If you consume the equivalent amount of vodka to the amount of cannabis that you consume today, I don't think the show would still be going.
Yeah, but I consume like this all the time, so
right.
My tolerance is real high.
Yeah. But for a moment there, you were a little bit above your normal.
Through my veins.
And hopefully you're consuming cannabis to get a bit of a buzz and get a little bit
swallowed
high. Anyway,
down the wrong hole.
That's kind of the point. You know, cannabis can impair, because it enhances your senses, the opposite of what alcohol does. But having your senses enhanced can be also impairing, especially for novice users.
Yeah.
And non-novice users, they're still having their senses enhanced, but they're used to the effects. They know how to deal with the effects. So.
Yeah. Well, I guess we should wrap it up because it's almost
think
7
so.
o'clock. Good 3-hour block here on Pod TV, Cannabis Culture News Live.
Can I do the Cannabis
thank you,
Day
Neil, for
sponsors
coming
one more
down.
time?
I
Cannabis
really
Culture,
appreciate
Weeds,
it.
Glass and Gifts, Medicinal Cannabis Dispensary,
I'm a little shaggy.
and Lisa La E-Vape Bong Bong Supply.
Yep. Lisa La
Limited.
E-Vape Bong Bong Supply Limited.
These are our sponsors, and there's another one, Kush Oil, I believe. And
We didn't go through all of them.
is there more than the ones I just did?
Yeah, we got to go through all of them.
Okay. Yeah, if there's more than that, I know Kush Oil, and I guess Johnny said he's going to kick down something for us, did he?
Is that hers? See,
Yeah.
why does she use that one instead of that one?
That's a good question. I kind of like this one.
Yeah, wait a minute. Hold on here. Where's my cannabis tag? Oh, the computer shut down. That's right. Remember, this thing shut down.
Wow, there's
So
quite a
we
bit
gotta-
of residual coming off of that. That thing's hot.
Uh-oh. Hold on here. Yeah, it's still burning away in there. We got to get all the sponsors. It was Cannabis Culture and
Weeds, Glass and Gifts.
Weeds, Glass and Gifts, the Medicinal Cannabis Dispensary,
Lisa
Planet
La
Pot,
Email, Bong Bong Supply.
Lisa La Eve Bong Bong Supply, Planet Pot,
Ah.
Tasty Buds.
Oh.
And
see.
I think that's everybody.
And that's for Cannabis Day
Weeds,
coming
Glass,
up
and Gifts.
very soon now.
Yeah, Cannabis Day, July 1st.
It's a week from
Pacific
Sunday,
Central
I think.
Station.
A week from this Sunday.
I wish I had given
9
Neil
days.
the poster, but here. No. Ah. Dun, 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 dun.
Pot
Okay.
protest with a little bit of celebration kicked in there.
There's the sponsors. Yep, kushoil.com. Lisa Lee E-Vape, Bong Bong Supply, Tasty Buds, Planet Pot, Weeds, Glass and Gifts, the Medicinal Cannabis Dispensary, and Cannabis Culture Pod TV.
There you go. Thanks to all those people for helping out. It's we don't charge for booths at Cannabis Day, so we need to have sponsors that help us with things to make it happen for sure, and it wouldn't happen without those people. So please support your local, sponsor of our Cannabis Day event.
Yep, all the local sponsors.
Yeah.
They're really
Cool.
good. We really appreciate it. They get us weed to throw out to the crowd because if you show up at Cannabis Day in Vancouver, you get free weed.
Yeah.
Everybody gets free weed.
420 Cannabis Day, Global Marijuana March in Vancouver, you get free weed.
Mm-hmm.
For many,
Yes, at all our
many, many
events we
years
give
now.
away free weed. And at
Lots of free
420 we hand out literally thousands of joints to the crowd.
10 pounds plus.
Yep.
That's not illegal.
Yeah.
We
That's
do
right.
that despite its illegality to show that nobody's harmed by cannabis.
Right.
We've given out, like you say, thousands and thousands of joints year after year after year. Never once had anybody come, or never a parent come and say, hey, my kid got one of your joints and now he's in the hospital for life. Nothing. Never. Ever.
No.
That's why we do it.
Yep. No, and because weed is good for you. It's awesome. It makes all those
It
people
is.
feel great.
Yep.
And they get a little sleepy.
In fact, what we get is thousands and thousands of happy people.
Yeah.
Thankful,
and you don't
happy
have
people.
to sign up with a pharmaceutical company to do it.
And I guess if I have just a minute, I'd like to say the Cannabis Substitution Project is still happening. It's twice a week. It's been going on for about
Speaking of
16 months
addictions.
now. And we give out care packs of cannabis edibles to people at Van Du on the downtown east side. About 160. Actually, we did over 200 people this past yesterday, getting care packs and sandwiches and other infused things to help them offset the use of street drugs and things like that. So you can check that out on Facebook, Cannabis Substitution Project. And if you would like to
Good
donate,
work
we
on
would
that,
like
Neil.
to have you donate. We don't get enough to really help these people the way that we'd like to help them. So we're still looking for more donations all the time.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Neil Magnuson doing amazing work. Amazing activist.
Thank you, Jeremiah. You're doing pretty
Big
amazing
thanks
work
to
yourself.
you. Big thanks to Neil. And also big thanks to Entropy E-Nails for
helping you dab.
Helping us dab on the show.
Yeah, it's a nice looking machine.
Yep, that's the machine there. It's a pretty cool unit on the front. It's like got the big.
Holy smokes! It's
big
after 7 o'clock.
It's very cool. So there you go. It's after 7 o'clock.
It is.
Time to go. Thanks for watching out there in Pod TV land. We love you. And we'll see you, I guess, tune in tomorrow. High noon starts at noon.
High noon starts at noon. That's
I'm assuming they're doing an episode. Yep, it does start. Yeah, it is appropriate. Boss Lissa, she's still doing her show. And
fun time.
Yep. And Kush Queens on Sunday. Tune in for that. We might try to go live from the ICBC conference.
I see.
You know,
Carly's on Monday.
Del the Funky Homo Sapien is playing. Did you know that? At the ICBC conference. Del from the Bay Area, and he is awesome. Deltron. Hieroglyphics. They're awesome. Yeah, I'm a big, huge fan and have been since like 92 or whatever. Whenever his second album came out, you know, his first album is like Mr. Dabalina, Mr. Bob Dabalina has that on it. I remember that being on the radio and shit and people singing that. But I didn't really know him until the second album came out, which was, I think, it was 92. He's got like skateboard on the front. It's got No Need for Alarm, I think is the name of the main track on there. Yeah, it's a good album. So Del, ICBC conference, Sunday. Maybe we'll get live footage of him. And also, yeah, tune in Monday for Carly's show. Tuesday for the Puffa podcast. Wednesday for From Under the Influence with Marijuana Man. And not just Marijuana Man, but Kush Queen and Al the Alchemist. And on Carly's show, or on the 420 Lifestyle show, it's Carly and BC Bud Gal. And wait, who else are we forgetting? That's everybody.
It's a show on Thursday still?
Oh, Mr. Craig X. He finished season 3 yesterday. Sadly, I couldn't be there. He invited me to go there. I missed it. Did anybody catch the show? Was it a big party or what? Nice. I really wanted to go. I was sad that I couldn't make it, but I was busy working on High Score, our new retro video game theme vapor lounge.
Coming soon.
That'd
be awesome.
With Neil's help, we've been building it, and it's been amazing. It's going to be cool. You haven't seen it now since we got the glow cubes in there.
Oh, no, I haven't. I did see the bar. Bar looked pretty good. It's not lacquered yet, or it wasn't when I saw it, but it looks really cool.
The place is going to be amazing.
I
think we've said too much. Wait till you see what this place looks like. It's going to be fun.
You'll want to be there.
So, yeah.
Especially if you're any type of a gamer.
Well, if you like retro games, at least. You know? Because there's not going to be much for modern-day games anywhere after a PlayStation, pretty much.
Well, you can sit there and play games on your cell phone, I guess.
You could. Or we could just bring a PlayStation in. And, like, I have an emulator. I have a setup called Hyperspin. If you're really a crazy gaming nerd and you want to get something cool, just go download a torrent of Hyperspin. And it gives you, like, it's a whole bunch of ROMs and emulators, and a whole package that runs them, or like a graphical user interface essentially that puts them all together in one spot, and you can just go flip through them all and use them. And it's like all the old crazy, you can get any kind of computer old thing, like you can get the Commodore Atom or whatever, like you can get whatever, any kind of old system that you can possibly think of, from the ColecoVision to even, I believe it goes all the way up to like modern systems. So.
And you play that on your big screen at home if you want. You can just turn it sideways on its side.
That's correct.
You know, like you did at your place.
That's
there.
right.
And you really feel like you're at a game console.
If you like the old games, the 80s games, yeah, you flip your monitor on the side and you turn it the actual aspect ratio switch, because the old games were built on a different grid. Yeah. And Pac-Man and Donkey Kong and Galaga and all those games are meant to be played with the screen flipped. And so we won't actually have a big flipped 55-inch at High Score.
You won't, eh?
No.
I wondered if you were going to do that.
No, we're not going to do it. But you'll still be able to play it up on the big 55-inch. It just won't be flipped that way. So there's going to be some black bars on the outer edges. So, but it's too hard to. We want to have more than just those games available. The consoles are what's on that. We have a Nintendo, a Super Nintendo, a Sega Genesis, and an Atari 2600 to play on the big screens.
Wow.
So that's going to be fun.
That's gonna be
and then we've got some arcade games in there for you to play.
Cool.
So, and pinball machines, and a dab bar, and all kinds of other fun. Yeah. Anyways, we'll talk to you guys soon. Thanks for watching the show. Peace.
Now passed Bill C.